Hello everybody, welcome back to Sector 1. We are here tonight from the lovely French countryside for Circuit De Sainte Croix. Breaking Sector 1 history tonight. For the first time ever, we'll be racing on the C variant of the circuit. It's a whopping 10.8 kilometers long, 24 corners on purpose-built and public roads. This massive track is going to offer a brilliant challenge to our Division 3 and Division 1 drivers tonight. My name is Lenocis, and your race directors joining me in the commentary box tonight are Dflo and Adam. How are we doing tonight, gentlemen?
Good, thank you. How's everyone else going?
Yeah, good. Yep, it's good to be here. Good to be back for an official season again.
Yeah, in the Sector 1 Supercars format, tonight we'll be racing 50 minutes of the C variant of Circuit De Sainte Croix. It's hard to say, I'm not French, but yeah, so that will be started under safety car, so we'll get about 44 minutes of green flag racing to look forward to. That's after a 15-minute qualifying as well, so yeah, it'll be an interesting race tonight for our format. In pre-season, the Sector 1 Supercars, they seem to be a pretty good pairing. We've got like some fairly matched cars and drivers this season, so be interesting to see what happens. Any pre-race thoughts, guys?
I think some people like to dust out the cobwebs, if you like. You know, we've obviously had some dress rehearsals, if you like, but this is the first time in a while that we've actually gone racing proper. So I'm sure some people have a bit of those nerves and whatnot. So it'd be good to see what happens. Fingers crossed, there's not too much melee and mishap happens, or happening, I should say.
Tough track tonight to start the season off for these guys, and don't know how much time each and every driver's put into it, but it is like a 3.5 minute lap here at Sainte Croix, so a big challenge. Some would call it the French Nürburgring, but I don't know about you guys. I just think it's a really tough track with, you know, ups and downs, twists and turns, and big long straights. So you really got to have a car that can do it all here.
Yeah, setup is going to be critical around this track. I've already seen a couple of people, they've had to choose between their cornering speed and their straight line speed. So a lot of the setups, they're really quick in the first and last sectors, but down those massive straights, the longest straight here is 1.8 kilometers, down those massive straights, they're just losing buckets and loads of time. So it'll be interesting to see who prioritizes what in their setups to try and maximize their pace around here. So starting us off tonight, we have our Division 3, who will be getting underway fairly shortly, and then after that we have our Division 1, the top of Sector 1. So stay tuned for that, guys, and I think it's Dflo. Do we have an ETA on qualifying for Division 3?
Yes, I reckon let's get it going now.
Alright, sounds like a plan. And so...
Just preparing. Okay, I'll give him a go ahead.
And qualifying is underway, I believe.
Yes, that's right.
Okay.
It's a bit clumsy, I'm afraid, compared to sport. I can't use the keyboard to navigate everywhere. So it's a bit of a hybrid system.
That's one of the drawbacks of this game, but we're slowly getting features as everything sorts itself out, as Polyphony figure out what they want to be doing with the game. At first, when unfortunately we couldn't start Sector 1 Season 6 for a long time because the game just wasn't ready, but the admins believe that the game is ready to go now. It's all good to go, so here we are racing once again, so it'll be interesting to see what times people put up.
Definitely. Let's have a quick run through the field. What do you reckon?
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea.
Yeah, alright, so first cab out of the rank is Prua. So he's running the Mercedes SLS AMG. Behind him you've got Carbon Boy, the stablemate in Obsession Motorsport, running the Aston Martin. Following him is Datsun in another Aston Martin. You've got Killer on the Loose in the Dodge Viper. So that's a bit of a dark horse from what I've seen in the pre-season testing. You know, not many people have chosen it as it's been, from the default setup at least, it's been one of the cars that seems to understeer a bit. but with that being said, it's one of those cars you really need to watch out for. So beyond him, you've got Daz 930T in the Mercedes SLS, S-Mid in the Aston Martin, Grassies in another Mercedes SLS, Gurr in an Aston Martin, Benny RX in another Aston Martin, Stranger in another Aston Martin. There seems to be a few of those in Division 3, isn't there? Filthy, the first of the Blacklight Motorsport Jaguars, VF in the RCLL Viper, and last but not least is myself, so I can't count myself, can I?
Yeah, well, safety car. It'd be interesting to see what kind of laps the safety car would do around here. But unfortunately, well, not. I mean, it's not really unfortunately, but
yeah, I've yet to have a quick lap in the safety car. So, I'd say about a 4-minute lap or something. But I'm sure we'll find out one way or another. What do you reckon? Or maybe a bit after post race, I might fang it around the track.
Maybe an off-camera safety car track entertainment.
Yeah, that's right. Maybe after the camera crews unpack and everything, I'll just sneak it out for a bit. What do you reckon?
Yeah. So as the first of the drivers just start to make their way through onto the public roads, this final section of Sainte Croix. It's a bit challenging because on the exit of a lot of the corners here, you don't have curbs, which really punishes the drivers if they make a small mistake. And it's crucial to ace this final sector as it holds your entire lap together. Just a few off-camber challenging corners as Brewer is navigating through now as he comes onto the main straight to start his first flying lap tonight.
Yeah, I have to agree with you with that last sector. It's one of those, quite literally as you said, it really pieces your lap together. You go offline, understeer, everything else, it just murders your track time.
As Pruitt comes through this first turn, it's flat out, but you mess it up and you're in that wall in the second turn. It's a very hard braking zone. You have to be braking about 150 meters out to pull it up in time. And then you have this massive straight, and this is where a lot of time can be gained or lost on this lap into a very tight braking zone of the hairpin of turn 3 as Pruitt makes his way through there now. You want to try and maximize the exit. It's also off camber slightly, so it's going to be pulling you into that outside wall, which isn't the best. And now one of the toughest corners on the track. You sort of have to trail brake in, and your line's very important through there. Otherwise, you're going to end up in that gravel trap and lose loads of time. But it seems like Brewer has made his way through there successfully for now.
Yeah, it seems to have gotten through there, I should say, relative. Oh, as a commentator's curse, he just ran it a bit wide, blocked the rears. But it seems to be that.
I heard a lot of wheel spin from somebody coming into that corner, but it seems like everyone's all right for now.
Yeah, the only one that I've seen so far that's made a boo-boo was Dadson. He stacked it into the wall into turn 1. So that's the dust out the old cobwebs. He's got a few busted panels on the Aston Martin, but I'm sure they'll repair it, patch it up, and get it out for another flying lap.
Yeah, as Dadson just slots himself about a second and a half behind his teammate Gurr at the moment. Geez, those Dadson cars look gorgeous. I feel like in the design process, trying to blind their opposition might have been a big factor for the colour choice. The golden Dadsons, they're looking brilliant as always.
So just something to note: the James Bond gadgets are prohibited, so they've gone for the, as you said, for the blinding paint scheme instead. So very smart choice.
So a 15-minute qualifying here tonight, but it's a 3.5-minute lap on average. So these guys are going to be struggling to get a few laps in. It'll be interesting to see whether people duck into the pits again or just try and stick it out for as long as possible and try and ride like their car as it gets lighter as they burn fuel over the laps. They should get about 3 or 4 laps in. Because they're almost halfway through qualifying now, and they're only on their first flying laps now. So
that's right. Yeah. So far, from what I've seen, Grassies is the only one that came in for a fresh set of boots at the end of the first lap. So he's more or less gone for the alternative strategy. Be curious to see, I should say, how everyone else decides to go about it.
As we see Prua navigating this tough final sector now. He'll be the first to cross the line and set a time today, and it seems at the moment like he's flying. He hasn't made a mistake visually, but it'll be interesting for sure to see what sort of times he'll set, what sort of benchmark times he'll set for the rest of the grid. That is, if he completes this lap, which he looks like he's doing, staying well away from that pit entry. As he comes across the line, it looks like a 3:33. Carbon Boy behind him, 3:35, slightly slower. Killer, 3:34, and Daz puts himself into provisional pole with a 32.8 at the moment.
Very
crosses the
quick
line, goes second with a 32.9, and I don't know who else crossed the line there, but it's Benier next to cross the line. He puts himself into fifth as S-Mid is next to come across the line. He sets slow at 3:55, so he might have made a mistake or just hit the wall somewhere and it's lost him a bit of time. And Grassy's, of course, pit at the end of the first lap, so he'll go around one more time before he sets a time.
Yeah, so the only two that are yet, I should say, put a lap time in are Filth is just coming onto the main straight now, and VF is just about to start the last sector.
Yeah, so Stranger has put himself onto provisional pole at the moment with a 3:32.4. So he'll be happy with that for himself at the moment. On provisional pole, let's see if he can hold it by the end of the 15 minutes. Only 6 minutes remaining.
Yeah, it'd be good to see what happens with that. Actually, just a quick note. So Stranger is actually one of the new teams coming on board for Season 6 with Doghouse Motorsport. So what a way to start what a way to start the season as a new team.
Yeah, for sure. They have a lot of promising drivers, so it'll be very interesting to see where they find themselves at the end of the season. I mean, this season we won't be having a team's championship. I don't think. I might have to confirm that. I think it'll just be the drivers' championships for each of the divisions.
That's correct.
Doghouse, they have a few good drivers, so interesting to see where they end up.
Yeah, all the best to them. So it'd be good to see how they go. So far, so good, though.
Yeah, so 5 minutes left in this qualifying session now, and they're on their third lap at the current second. All drivers are on their third lap. That's sure. Yes, and they should get maybe 2 more laps, depending if they pit. I think 1 or 2 more after this should be around ballpark region.
Yeah, some of them will just have enough time to pit now, grab a fresh set of boots and go for another flyer.
And I think as Grassy's comes down onto the big back straight, I think we might just ride on board with him for a little bit, see how he handles this final sector of the track. Comes down the back straight now. He has S-Mid in sight ahead of him. And, he's not close enough to make an overtake, of course, but he might just be getting a little bit of slipstream. Oh, it was S-Mid. Hits the wall.
He's just been very courteous and got out of his way.
Looked like he outbroke himself there. That tailwind down the back straight is very deceiving when you come to the braking zone. You're almost braking 200 meters out from the corner, so yeah, I won't be surprised if I see a few people caught out there tonight from both divisions. As Grassy comes through probably the hardest section of track at the moment. The entire section just wants to send you to the outside of the track. As it comes to the penultimate corner, you have to be very patient on the throttle there, otherwise you'll head straight into that wall. And final corner. with this final corner, the rear end just wants to step out, so you need to tell the car what you want as he comes down the final straight. And this is looking to be a pretty good lap from Grassies, and it puts him up into P5. So good job to Grassies there.
Decent job there with a 33.7. So nicely done. 1.2 seconds off pole, half a second off Prua ahead in fourth.
Yeah, so looking up, Stranger couldn't improve his lap. Neither could Daz or Gur. But I don't see anybody in particular who's improved their lap. Oh, Dadson improved his lap, the same as Carbon Boy on the last lap. So I think all the drivers that are currently out have decided to just stay out for the remainder of the qualifying session. With only 2 minutes remaining, they're not going to be able to pit and get around in time to set another lap. That's the issue with a track as enormous as Sainte Croix C. Drivers don't really get around to putting in a lot of qualifying laps, which sort of adds to the challenge and it shakes things up. If a quick driver makes just a small mistake, it could be the difference from a pole position or being fairly far down the grid.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. And it almost feels like it's almost like a top 10 shootout, except everyone's invited to the party. So it's more like a top 14 shootout in reality.
Yeah, that's true. 2 minutes remaining in this session, so most of these guys are going to get another lap in to improve. Interesting thing about the tyre model at the moment is the tyres don't really lose time or grip until they're right on the edge of their life, around 95% of their life gone. So the driver can basically exploit the tyres as much as they want, but what it also means is that undercuts and overcuts don't really have much of an impact on the lap times. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see people driving as pushing the cars as hard as they can in qualifying and in the race. The only thing that they're really going to need to worry about is fuel, trying to get a jump on other people in the pits.
Definitely, I have to agree with you. That's actually another interesting thing to note. So it's such a fine line between running at that edge of I've still got a bit of tyre wear, but once it goes, it's going off the cliff doesn't even describe it perfectly. It's virtually like driving on slicks in wet weather. You'll lose that much time, and quite frankly, on a lap like this, a lap of this size, we're looking at 3.5 minutes, it will hurt big time.
Yeah, for sure. Something else to add, the one stop or the two stop, I've seen a lot of people try the one stop at the moment, but the two stop, I haven't seen a lot of people try it, but I think it's slightly slower. But it'll be interesting to see if anybody does throw that, go for the gamble and tries to get that to work for them, as Dadson crosses the line, improves himself to a 34.1 and puts himself into P7. I'm not sure whether he went up or down there, but as Stranger crosses the line, and he was very close to improving, only 2.5 tenths away from his quickest lap. And I think that's the end of qualifying. Yes, so everybody that's currently on a lap is going to get to finish their lap, which I think is everyone in front of Stranger. Or did Stranger make it across? I couldn't really see that. Dflo, did you catch that?
No, I'm afraid I didn't catch that.
Okay, well I think if he goes for it, I guess we should probably give him maybe the benefit of the doubt for Stranger here. But everyone in front of Stranger gets to finish their lap.
Yeah, I'll keep an eye on his lap times. I think that'll be the end of it realistically, but yeah, I believe he might have just squeezed through. Grassies and Benny Rex were definitely ones to have missed out. Some of those have just decided to park up as a way of showing that they've acknowledged the message. Yeah,
looking at the times, the session is 16 minutes now, and Benia has just passed 1 minute in his lap time. So I think Benia is right on the edge. The way he's driving, I think he believes that he's actually made it here. So
yeah,
maybe it's Benia forwards. Looking at the times, I think he's right on the edge, like crossed the line just as the checker flag fell, but
he's 20 seconds off on his sector, so I'd say he's one of the few that's given it away.
well.
Just
We
double
should look
check
at
with the other drivers. My understanding is that they're all done. Yeah, quite honestly, looking at their tyre wear, I'd say they're all done. So I think that's it. Yep. All right, I'm going to call this, and we'll just go into the race. We'll just make sure I'm on the grid as well. Can't start the rest without the safety car, so. All right.
So I think that's the end of qualifying now. So, so once again, just to repeat, it is a 50-minute race, followed by, not followed. It's a 50-minute race which starts under safety car in a formation lap, a custom rolling start. So that rolling start just gives that formation lap just gives us a bit of time to talk through the drivers and get all their cars set up and ready to go before they head into the race.
Yeah, for sure. I'll just make sure I remind the drivers of their grid positions. Last thing we need is an issue with someone started in a position that they weren't. Just make sure they are reminded. I'll be nice. I'll give him another 30 seconds. Just for the avoidance of doubt. I'd rather that than be told off. But I'd say most of those drivers are done.
I think everybody's finishing their laps now. Does anybody improve? I don't think so.
Yep, no worries. Okay, let's get this race started.
All right, so once again, it's going to be a formation lap into...
Yeah, so I'll start... Sorry, I just went blank for a second. So I'll take lead from... Obviously, I'll be starting at the back because I didn't qualify. So I'll bring the Sector 1 safety car up front. I'll take them around for what's essentially a parade / warm-up lap. And we'll go from there. I'll peel off at the end of at the beginning, I should say, of the last sector. And the pole sitter, in this case, the stranger, will take over. And then the race start, if you like, is under his control.
As we start formation lap now.
Yes, that's right. Formation lap has started.
And Dflo in the Sector 1 safety car. I believe that was made by Good Doc, and it fits our stream this season. It looks absolutely wonderful with the blue and red on the side of the car. So in pole position tonight, we have the Stranger, and he'll be very happy with that to start off the campaign for Doghouse. Finding himself up front, he'll be able to control the grid when they get around to start their first lap. And sitting in P2 is Daz. He had a brilliant qualifying, finds himself on the front row for this one. And behind him is Gur in P3, and he'll be very happy with himself as well. Very good qualifying from him. And in fourth, Prua. He'll also be happy with his qualifying, finding himself on the second row for his own team, Obsession Motorsport. Behind Prua is Carbon Boy in the other Obsession Motorsport car for tonight. He, unlike the rest of his team, is in the Aston compared to the Mercedes. And look back into 6th place, we have Gracis in that Fanatec. It's racing cars like Legends, though Gracis races for, right?
Gracis is part of Lucky's Lawn Care Racing, so
okay.
It's the other stable of RCWL. Very close.
And down in 7th, we have the other Dadson Racing car in... Oh, somebody's parked it up on the side. I think it's Prua, and he's disconnected.
Oh no.
Well, if he joins back, and he explains if he disconnected, we might have time to red flag and get him back in, but we'll have to see with that. So as I was saying, well, Dadson, he's just been promoted to 6th position now in the Bacchus Brewery Dadson racing car, and behind him is Killer in the Loose in 7th position for RMR, and in 9th position is Filthy, 10th position Benia, 11th position, no it's not, the last 3 were up 1 position, I'm just reading it wrong, sorry about that guys. So in 10th position is S-Mid, and 12th is VF. So they're about a third of the way through the lap now, so by the time we get back to the start, we should have about 44, 46 minutes. I mean 44, why did I say 40? 44, 43 minutes of racing.
Yes.
Got there eventually, guys. I was thinking 6-minute formation lap, but
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, it's not far off. It's such a big lap. Almost wish we'd. It's a shame we don't have a little bypass route.
yeah, maybe we should just take the B variant of the circuit to get back to the start of the course.
Well, that's worth it.
Yeah, so as we come down into the sweeping corner over, I think it's between. I think it's turn 17. Come onto the back straight now, and the race should be getting underway momentarily. So what's going to happen is the safety car is going to bunch up the pack into the last few turns, and then it's going to peel off to the side, and the pole sitter, which in this case is Stranger, he is going to control the pack and can go whatever speed he wants, and he can start the race as soon as he gets up to the grid slots on the grid, and after that he can go whenever he wants between the start-finish line and the grid slots. There's a few drivers just warming up their tyres at the moment, and I heard from a few people that warming up their tyres on the formation lap might not be worth it. So it'll be up to the drivers to see what they prefer to do with their car.
It's a bit risky, if I'm honest. It's I feel like it's a lot more exaggerated now with Gran Turismo 7 as opposed to GT Sport. It really penalises you if you've got cold tyres, though.
Yeah.
So it's not something that you'd really want to take a chance with. Cold tyres, cold brain potentially into turn 1. Cars generally understeer a bit into 1, and then you've got a massive braking zone into 2. It's a bit of a gamble, but if it helps them with a bit of tyre wear, then it's yeah, yikes.
As we see the drivers, they should be taking their formation. Yeah, they're starting to take their formations now, and the rest of the grid starting to be backed up, and looks like we're about to go racing. And here we are. Stranger in P1, Daz alongside him, and we're about to go green flag racing here at Sainte Croix. Still got a few corners actually.
Yeah, it's a bit of there's a few corners in this sector, isn't there?
Yeah. Sooner or later we should be able to get back to the start line. Almost there. Only 2 corners to go now. I actually got mixed up between the corners for a little bit there. So as we come along onto the final stretch of road, we're about to go green flag racing.
So they're all lined up now.
As they edge their way towards the start line, and they're away, and the leader puts his foot down, and as they barrel towards turn 1, it's going to be a very tough corner to get right here. Seems like everyone has got through there cleanly at the moment. Very fast into this heavy braking zone. We see a move. Oh, one Dadson onto the other Dadson as Guru hits the wall, I think that was. And Dadson finds himself in P3. Carbon Boy right on the back of the two Dadsons at the moment. And somebody's making a move up the back. And there's people everywhere, too wide, up and down the circuit at this point. As we head into turn 3 now. And Daz dropping down to P3. Dadson finds himself in P2. So he's made the most of the start here, and he finds himself second on the grid at the moment. As they come through turn 5 now. This is probably the toughest corner on the track. As everybody seems to have got through properly and well, as we see somebody in the background there. I think it's Gur making a mistake, losing the position to S-Mid there. Just a little bit wide on the exit there, but he's still going. Gur's not had a great start today. He started P3, I believe, and he finds himself all the way down in 7th at the moment, so he's going to have a massive recovery drive ahead of him. He's still in a chance for the podium, but at the moment he sits a little bit off where he started this race. As we look a little down the order now, we have Killer in 8th, Benier in 9th, Gracis in 10th, VF in 11th. A little bit behind the rest of the pack, so might have just got caught up in an incident of some kind, but won't be too happy with that.
Wide as well. Oh, and into the wall. Oh, no, that's not good. Scratching up like new paintwork. Yeah, he seemed to have gotten a bit of a slow start off the line. Well, obviously I was behind him as the safety car. He seems to have had a bit of a slow start, so I don't know if he's just uncomfortable with the car or something I might have to discuss in the team debrief a bit later.
As we look up to Stranger now, for the first time he'll be tackling this massive back straight. Dadson's going to have the slipstream the entire way down. Oh, maybe not. He didn't have the best of exits, so he's not going to be feeling the value of the slipstream as they come down into the massive hairpin. But somebody's making a move back here. I think it's... No, who is it? It's Carbon Boy on Daz. Finds himself into P3. Carbon Boy into the podium places. Gets the move done before they're even at the corner. There's Filthy. Oh! They're all going for it, but Filthy goes into P4. Daz is just tumbling down the order at the moment. He was in P2. Now he finds himself in P5. As they come into the final sector now. And Filthy in P4. He's made the most out of that situation as Daz just goes a little bit wide, and Filthy just pops himself up into 4th position, just shy of the podium places.
Yeah, it's been a great start so far. Yeah, aside from that little bit of contact into the hairpin at the second last sector, that was actually not a bad start from everyone.
So at the end of this first lap, I think we should do a quick run through of the grid. So Stranger finds himself in 1st position, and followed closely behind is Dadson in P2, making his way up from 4th position on the grid. Carbon Boy from 5th into 3rd, and Filthy up into 4th position. Very opportunistic from Filthy at the moment to get himself up into that position. Daz in 5th, just making a few mistakes, and somebody's hit the wall in the background. Oh, who was that? Was that Gracis? Oh, that is not ideal for Gracis. He might lose his position to Smid here, but...
looking at the damage on board of both cars, it looks like S-Mid's got the engine damage compared to Gracis, so unfortunately didn't quite catch that between the two of them, but that's...
incident in the background there.
Yeah,
not too
definitely.
sure what happened. Just saw it at the back of that pack as they're coming down the straight, and both into the wall, so maybe an incident into turn 1, turn 2, but both of them are not going to be happy with that. So did Gracis get damage as well?
1 second, let me go back to it. No, sorry, I'm going to tongue-tied. No damage for Gracis at all.
Okay. Looked like he hit the wall pretty hard, but he's actually overtaking Killer. Killer might have gone off. It's all happening. Oh, and wait, Gur's down in 10th. Oh, what happened? What happened there? Where that happen? Maybe in the gravel trap at turn 5? Oh,
Must have been. He's got no damage on the car. I can't unfortunately see the split times in relative to others around him. Well, with that being
he goes
said,
through the next sector. He
yeah.
comes across the bridge, but he was in... Where was he? He was in... 3rd? Oh, wait. Gur was in 4th position. Oh, no, 7th position. He dropped down at the start and he's tumbling further, so... I'm not too sure what's happened to Gur, but not the ideal start that you want in a race like this. He's going to have to work it. He started P3, I believe. Now he has to work his way all the way back up the order. I mean, qualifying is shows us the pace that he has, but this start has not been ideal for him at all.
No, definitely not. So that last sector split was shown 3.5 seconds down. So that's obviously something's happened there. Fortunately, just didn't quite catch it.
Yeah, it just seems to be one of those days. All the incidents are happening off camera, which unfortunately we won't be able to use the Next Level Racing action replay so far. But we see Carbon Boy is right up behind Dadson there, only 3/10 behind. He could be looking for a move. Just looking at the backer's car there, it looks like it's got a bit of damage on it as well. A few chunks out of it maybe, but
yeah, it certainly had a
bit of a bumpy race so far.
had a bit of weight reduction, I guess you could say.
Yeah, weight reduction that might not be contributing to aerodynamics very much. But so do we have light or heavy damage this race?
It's light damage for this race, so obviously after a bit of time it will repair. Benia gets very tail happy in that sector as well, as I'm just trying to scan through the field to see if anyone else has damage. At this stage, no, it's only light damage, and obviously it'll self-repair if you like, self-healing damage.
Benny, a massive moment in the penultimate corner. Oh, he was on the grass and he almost lost it there, but yeah, that's not what you want to happen. As we'll just have a look at the Next Level Racing action replay of that one as bearings. There we go. As he comes through here and he's just on that grass, and it's not what you want to happen. So we go back.
Definitely not.
To live, and this battle between Benia and Filthy. Oh, sorry, it wasn't Benia that almost lost it at the penultimate corner. It was Filthy. Sorry to our viewers for that one, but they're having a good old battle here, these two. As Carbon Boy is still pressuring Dadson for their second position now, as they come through into turn 6 now. The two left-handers of turn 6 and 7, they're slightly off camber, so the car wants to have a tendency to pull you to the outside of the track, but it seems like for now they've negotiated it pretty well. There's some 2 tough corners. It's hard to get on the power early, being 90-degree corners, but yeah, and with the off-camberness of the corner, it just pulls you to the outside of the track. But yeah, Carbon Boy, you might get an opportunity on the 2 next straights that we have coming up, through the bridge section and on the massive 1.8 kilometers back straight. As they fly through here, and Stranger's made a mistake, and now Dadson's right on the back of him. He's gone for the move, and Dadson's in the lead of this race.
Well, that is
Dadson has taken the lead, and he's got purple. He's purple by 8/10 as well, and he goes into the lead. Dadson from 4th on the grid finds himself in 1st, only 4 laps in. As they come through the sweeper now, you have to be very patient on the throttle, otherwise you're just going to understeer straight into that outside wall. And he could be under pressure from the Stranger now though, because the Stranger has a 2/10 gap and the slipstream. As they come down into here, and Stranger makes the move, he might get it done before the corner. We'll see how Dadson tries to defend this.
Well and truly past him. I'm actually surprised there wasn't a bit of gamesmanship, just a bit of bump draft. Save the car and let Dadson do all the hard work in front. So a bit of an interesting choice. Must prefer the cleaner air. And looks like Carbon Boy is running along with Dadson as well. So
We have
Wow.
a very good battle pack shaping up here for the lead of the race, and they have a very large gap to the cars behind, 7 seconds already. Only 2 racing laps into this race. So these 3, they're going to be the favourites. They're the 3 Astons, so might say something about the Aston Martin. It seems to be pretty strong around this track compared to the other cars. There's Dadson just losing touch with Stranger a little bit there, but Carbon Boy just sticking to the back of Dadson, and he might make a move into turn 1 as they come into the final corner now.
Oh,
And,
contact.
oh! And does Carbon Boy get past? That's the question. No, he just slips back in behind. Maybe trying to get that slipstream. And I'll tell you what, turn 1 is not the place to overtake. He doesn't overtake there because you get it slightly wrong by a few millimeters and you're into that outside fence. And it seems like he's eased off a lot there, Carbon Boy. Almost half a second behind, but they take off again down this first large straight, barreling towards turn 3. As we see.
It's actually interesting to see that Carbon Boy seems to have the best car underneath him as well. He's got the least amount of tyre wear, marginally the better fuel between all 3 of them as well. So he might be playing the long game, just letting everyone else do the... Oh, there we go. There's actually no
Carbon Boy goes down the inside, but he's going to have the outside for this turn 4. And he does lose the position, but might be trying to send Dadson wide and go narrow. But the switchback isn't on as he looks like he's going for a move into turn 5, but he doesn't for now. Maybe trying to get the exit. He's very wide on the exit of turn 5, but he seems to hold on to it for now. As he goes purple in that sector. That was Dadson, sorry, that went purple. And Carbon Boy behind. He seems to have a really good car underneath him for this first sector, but seems to struggle, especially in that final sector. He seems to lose about half a second there, but gains maybe half a second in this part of the track. But it seems like Dadson also has the better car than Stranger in this technical part of the track as they head down into the bridge section again, and you just see that gap between Stranger and Dadson just come right down again. And 2 tenths in. Oh, Carbon's gone! Carbon Boy's gone! Oh, that's massive! Oh, Carbon Boy! What's happened there? Oh no, that is not what you want to see.
Big damage all around on that car. Virtually not a single panel is square anymore. He's just getting swamped.
Right down the order now. Finds himself in P8. We'll just have a look on the Next Level Racing action replay. And that is not what you want to see at all. As he just comes into here. Oh, and it didn't slow him down.
Oh, he's way back down into 10th. Oh, S-Mid just... Oh, and icing on the cake. He's just been taken out by S-Mid unintentionally. Oh, that is not good.
Oh,
just gone from bad to worse. Oh, that's got to burn.
There's Carbon Boy and S-Mid just having a battle of their own now. But for Carbon Boy, that is an absolute nightmare. Fighting for the lead, and that off-camber corner coming onto the bridge has just sent you a little bit wide, and it's not worked out for him at all.
No, unfortunately, S-Mid's trying to give him a bit of a bump draft as a way of going, I'm sorry, let's keep going. So certainly not taking advantage of that incident in any way, shape or form, but yikes, it's put both of them out of contention if we're being honest about it.
As we look forwards again, Stranger and Dadson, 8 tenths between them now. I think, as I was saying earlier, I think Stranger really has this car set up to be able to hook it up through this final sector. And he's proving why he was on pole position earlier. But as Dadson, he's just got the straight line speed. He's catching him at a rate of knots, already cut off 2.5 tenths as they barrel down into the first turn. Stranger staying out of the wall, so does Dadson. So they come into this corner now, turn 2.
Oh, much better exit from Dadson there.
And he's right on the back of him. And he's gone for the move, and he's going to have it well and truly done before they get to turn 3. Already 1.5 tenths ahead of him. As they come down into the heavy braking zone of turn 3. And just have a look at that that move on the Next Level Racing action replay. He just gets it done well and truly before that corner. It's a textbook move, and it might tell a story that Dadson prioritising straight line speed in his setup seems to be working for him now. He finds himself in the lead of this race. So, very good job from Dadson. Fourth on the grid to first.
And he's actually gone purple by half a second, so... Wow, he's the Gillette man, as is affectionately known. He's just suddenly pulling out all the stops and trying to even break a gap, but he's already 8/10 ahead of Stranger, so he might be hoping to just get ahead with it, get on with it and run away.
Yeah, Stranger, this first sector seems to be his weakness, same as this this bridge section, but I'll expect that time to come right down as they head into that final public road section of the circuit. As they come to the bridge section now, off camera, there's a bump in the middle of the road here, and a lot of people try and set up their car in a way that they can handle that bump as easily as possible, whereas some others might set up their car a bit stiffer. You see as these cars run through, they just bounce over that bump a little bit, and it just seems to unsettle the car a lot.
It really, really does. Admittedly, with these cars being a bit heavier than the Group 3s that we used to run a couple of seasons back, it probably doesn't throw the car out as much as it could, but I do agree it's one of those bumps you have to sort of take into account as you approach and turn the corner. Speaking from first-hand experience, it used to give me PTSD in the Ferrari 458 Group 3 car. That thing was oversteery as it is, and a little bump just made it even 10 times worse than what it was without that said bump being there. So yeah, not fun at all.
It's not one of the friendliest corners, let's just say that.
No, definitely not. It's such a tricky corner, and if you get that bump wrong, it will push you out wide. If you go out wide and you can't save it, you find a nice steel wall in front of you that'll wreck your race and your car.
And we've already seen it take one victim tonight. Carbon Boy just getting it all sorts of wrong as he's fighting with S-Mid at the moment. Only 2/10 separates those two at the moment. But, seems to hold the position to the hairpin. And VF down in 11th still. He's 47 seconds off the leader. So it seems like he's just had bad lap after bad lap at the moment. With that lap 1 incident he had, and then he just hasn't been able to find the pace so far and get his foot down. But congratulations to him for just camping on. Anything can happen in this race, but
certainly can. One thing I have noticed is he's actually got a lot more fuel and tyres compared to those. Admittedly, he's still 20 seconds off the pace. He does have a lot more fuel and tyres. And actually, speaking of fuel and tyres, Gurr and Killer are the first in the pits from what I can see.
Yeah, so lap 6, these guys have thought, yeah, this is when we're going to pit. The pit window's around lap 6, lap 7, but as I was saying earlier, the tyre wear, it doesn't really affect the pace of the car, so the undercut or overcut doesn't really work out, but it'll be interesting to see how much time these two gain. Oh, and Smid's in the pits as well, so... and Carbon Boy. So all these guys, they're giving a bit of a gamble, and they're trying to see as much time as they can gain. But yeah, a little bit late for this, but Stranger has closed that gap up to 3/10 again, so that was just reinforcing what we believed before, is he's got that car set up to really hook up the car in that last sector, where Dadson's just opening that gap up again. He might have a little bit of a softer car to be able to handle the bumps and maximise his exit on this purpose-built first part of the track, but Stranger seems to have his car perfect for that those public roads, off-camber public roads at the end of this track.
Certainly has. So it'll be interesting to see how this all pans out, or even likewise, they could play a bit of fuel numbers in the pits. Right now, if I'm honest, it seems very even between the two, but there's nothing to stop him from a bit of gas. Dare I say, will he even try it? We were talking about tyre wear before with the tyre meters in-game representing X amount of wear and so on. Do you reckon Stranger might actually stay out and try and overcut, or dare I say, even do the opposite of whatever Dadson does?
I mean, in practice, seeing people save for 8 laps, you did see a few people do it, and especially with the formation lap where they weren't burning too much fuel. I guess I could see Stranger staying out for one more lap and trying to get the overcut, have those fresher tyres for the second half of the stint, try and find something that Dadson can't. But as Stranger, you might want to be pitting at the same time, but seeing he doesn't have the fuel advantage on Dadson so far, I would probably, I think the option to do the opposite of what Dadson does, come around to the pit lane, it's there. So it'll be really interesting to see who pits when, and whether they stick around for one more lap or just come in now. Because how much time have we got left? We've got 22 minutes, so that's like what, just over 7 laps. So
correct. So it'd be a nice short stint if they did come in now. And to be fair, I think seeing how much Stranger's all over Dadson, I putting myself in his shoes, I would pit definitely. Because if anything, it almost feels like he's getting held up by a fraction.
Yeah, Dadson's half a second purple coming to this final sector, but this is this is the part of the track where he really struggles. But we could see a move from Stranger as they come around through the penultimate corner and both ace that. But Stranger doesn't dive down the inside. He's very patient with it at the moment. And we see them pit. And
yep,
they
there we
both
go. They're
come
both in. Both on the same fuel as well.
As we see Filthy rounding the final corner now as well. Will he pit?
I'd say most of them will now, to be fair.
Yes, he does. And Daz
stays out.
Grassy comes in. Benia comes in. And Gur has already pit, so he'll go around again. Killer as well. Below Benia, the rest of all pit. So Daz stays out. It'll be really interesting to see how this works in his favour or against him. But I reckon, I honestly don't think the overcut will work out a whole lot for him. But we'll just have to wait and see what happens in this race, because he's got 18 seconds. And the transit time around here for a pit stop is around 28 seconds. But Dadson comes out about 7.5 tenths ahead of Stranger. But Stranger just in that slipstream, closing up that gap. Once again, he's not going to be close enough to make an overtake into turn 3. But we just see a bit of mist coming over the track as well.
Yeah, it seems to be, the clouds seem to be coming down a bit, aren't they?
I was looking through the weather settings yesterday, and it's like alpine mist, you know?
Oh.
Thick clouds, bright, sunny, chance of showers.
It's actually, well, we've got a spinner, Grassy's. He was off the hairpin in Sector 2.
Ooh,
I was just about to make note that Benny Rex, so he seemed to be using a lot more fuel compared to everyone else. Most people were pitting with about a quarter of a tank. He had about 5% left. So I'd assume he's revving that car a lot harder than those around him. Consequently, that's paid a massive penalty to him regarding all the pit cycles, or the pit cycle, I should say, not pit cycles. There's only one. So that's obviously hurt him a lot.
Yeah. So looking back, Gur and Killer find themselves higher than when they pit. So Guru is currently sitting in 4th, and he was down in 10th on lap 3. So he's absolutely made up so much ground with that undercut. That's a little bit unexpected, but they've made it work, and he finds himself in contention for another podium here. I mean, 8.5 seconds is a big gap, but around a track like this, so mentally demanding, anything could happen. A mistake from Dadson or the Stranger. Well, once Daz pits, Gur might actually be in provisional 3rd place, I think.
That's correct, yes. So Daz is still yet to pit. He's the only one that's really stayed out, so that's right.
28 seconds between Gur and Daz, so it's going to be right on the edge when Daz comes out. How much fuel does Daz have?
So Daz has got a quarter of a tank, so that's interesting. He's done a lap more than the Aston Martins, and he's essentially pitting with the same amount of fuel. That will obviously in turn yield dividends in his stop. He can afford to take on less fuel. So it'd be interesting to see how this pans out. Not pays out. Gosh.
Yeah. So on paper, Daz should come out just behind Gur, but he's also got 7 minutes newer tyres. So, as Daz comes around the final corner now, pitting from the lead, he has a 17-second gap to Dadson behind. Now it'll just be a numbers game. See how long he's stopped for, and where that spits him back out on track. So he should be behind Dadson and Stranger by quite a margin. But the question now is, will he come out ahead of Gur?
Yeah, so I'm trying to stay on board with Gur myself in the on-car footage, just to see where Gur ends out in relation to Daz. So be curious to see what happens here.
Daz comes out of pits. Now
this is
it's going to be
close.
very tight on exit.
He's got him.
Very
He's got
tight.
him.
Oh,
Wow. But
so
has
the
that thrown
undercut. The undercut looks like it's the way to go. And Gur is at the fastest lap of the race with a 3:34.1, 3/10 quicker than we've seen anybody. Oh! Daz is in the wall!
No.
Daz is in the wall. What's happened there? It's Filthy and Daz.
Ooh, that's gotta hurt.
And Filthy is giving way.
Considering the redress, I'd assume something would have happened there.
Yeah, so looking back, for some reason the Next Level Racing action replay isn't working for me. For some reason.
That's all right. We'll leave that to the race stewards to figure out. Yikes! That's the podium contention out for Daz, I'm afraid.
But Gur finds himself in P3. Was P10 only 5 laps ago, and look at him now in P3.
Wow!
This is a brilliant race for Dadson Racing and the Golden Bacchus cars. Maybe their strategy of blinding their opponents seems to be doing them a good one in this race.
It could be.
Double podium for Dadson Racing.
That's right.
Separated by Stranger from Doghouse.
Yeah.
Very interesting race.
And that also means an Aston, for the moment at least, I hope I don't put the commentator's curse on it, for the moment at least, that's an Aston Martin 1, 2, 3 in Division 3.
Yeah, behind that, Killer on the loose. He's absolutely flying as well. He was down with Gur, and now into P4 ahead of Daz. So we have a massive battle pack forming around the bridge area now. There's 6 cars in that. In
That's
space
right.
of about 3 seconds. So
you've got Carbon Boy in 9th, all the way. Oh, Killer's just run wide, all the way up to Killer in 4th position. So that's a massive battle pack there.
Yeah, and VF's not too far behind as well. Maybe 3 seconds or so. So
that's right. Yes.
He's really crawled back into this race. I believe he is pit as well. So
from what I'm seeing on the onboards, I don't believe he's pitted, and I think he's just skimmed the front left of that car. So he's got a bit of damage to boot too.
Well, I'd imagine he would pit this lap then. Effectively 8 laps on the road. He's stayed out now, so should be coming in this lap, but we'll have to wait and see.
I would assume so. He's got less than a quarter of a tank, and his tyres have seen much better days. Oh, there's a bit of gamesmanship on the main straight there. There's nearly 3 wide.
This is massive.
Killer, Grassies, and Daz. Oh,
3 wide?
Oh, slight bit of overlap.
As Daz pulls out, he knows that's not friendly, but Filthy tries it on the inside of Daz. Does he get it done? No, he doesn't get it done.
Just run wide.
Killer down to 5th, loses positions. Does Daz get past him? Does Daz get past him? Daz had the run, but he's pulled out as he was stuck on the outside. As they come through probably another one of the hardest corners on the track. Killer kicking up a lot of grass there, as we see Benio just getting in front of Carbon Boy as well. As they come through the final few corners. And Grass, he's up into P4. He was in P7 just 3 corners ago. And look at him now. He's in 4th. He comes into the final corner.
So that's a decent recovery. So he, if I remember correctly, he actually ran wide at turn number 3. So the hairpin at the start of sector 2. He ran wide, lost a few positions, and his, admittedly, misfortune of others has guided him back into 4th place. Yeah,
so this has really worked out for Grasses and Gur, and it's shaping up really well. As we just look up front for a quick update, and Dadson sets the fastest lap with a 33.5. He is flying at the moment. Got a 1.4 second gap to Stranger behind. But I think the story at the moment is this massive battle pack from 4th down to 9th. As Killer on the loose pulls out and around Grassy's. He gets it done before the corner, but Grassy's going to try and hold it around the outside. And he doesn't, but Killer goes through. So good stuff from Killer, but Grassy's might go for another move. No, he's not close enough there. There's Daz. Oh, Grassy's is gone. Grassy's is gone. Oh, and he's taken. No. Oh, he's taken Carbon Boy out. Oh, Carbon Boy barely holds onto it.
Oh, that's getting messy, guys. There's 3 of them. 3 to 1 doesn't go.
It's all going. Oh, Benny almost loses it as well. But for now, Killer into P4, but Daz goes for a move. But it's all kicking off now. The only person we've lost from that is Grassy. So he just got wide, got on that grass, and it didn't do him any favours. As we look back onto the next level racing action replay, as they come down into here, and Grassy's just on that curb and grass, hits the wall, flies back across the track, and he's hit Carbon Boy. But yeah, it hasn't worked out for him all too much. So we look back to this battle pack, and there's a lot of positions from a lot of people to be gained here. But they just need to keep it calm. Only 10 minutes remaining in this race, so we'll have to see if they can keep it calm, just ease it around the tracks. There's now, it seems like Benny has just lost touch from the battle pack as well, so we're stuck with 4 cars here from Carbon Boy, Filthy, Daz, and Killer on loose. As Filthy running really wide there, but Carbon Boy's going to get the run on him. He might get the move done, and Killer goes, no, Daz around the outside of Killer, and it's all kicking off. And Carbon Boy, the 1st and 3rd in this pack, have switched places with 2nd and 4th. No, wow, Killer holds onto it. Killer holds onto the position. But Filthy's going to dive down the inside.
Massive dive bomb.
Can he hold on to it? Carbon Boy's going to try and hang it around the outside. He's going to get the inside for this next corner, but no. Filthy does hold that position.
Oh, better tail happy from Filthy there. Just held onto it though.
As they come through the hardest part of this circuit, and Daz on a personal fastest lap.
Oh, it's getting close up top though. Dadson made an error in that last sector. 6/10 between Dadson and Stranger up top.
Stranger should be within striking range anytime now. Oh! What's the... Oh!
Commentator's curse. Well, that was good job keeping that off the wall.
Oh, Stranger was a little bit lucky there. As we see Killer under fire from Daz once again as they come into turn 1. And Daz doesn't go for it. That's probably the smart choice. And he flies through. And he goes for the move into turn 2. And, oh! Filthy, and Carbon Boy goes through! Carbon Boy goes through. And he's got Daz on the back pedal here.
Well, this is getting very juicy.
Yes, he does. He's well and truly ahead. And Filthy's going to overtake Daz as well. Filthy goes through ahead of Daz.
Filthy.
Oh, no. There's contact! Contact, massive contact! Oh, Filthy's in the wall! Oh, it's all gone wrong. Everyone's gone. Oh, no. But Carbon Boy into P4.
Oh, no.
What's happened there? As we look back on the next level racing action replay coming into this corner.
Oh, Carbon Boy's off.
Oh, no! Oh, it's all kicking off! All kicking off! And so, Filthy's made contact with Carbon Boy, who's then made contact with Killer, and then Filthy's hit the wall, and that has not worked out well. So we head back now. 8 minutes left on the clock, and Carbon Boy all over the show. Whoa, no. Carbon Boy was in 4th, and now he's back down to 7th. with a large gap to Daz ahead. So now it's Benia in 4th position. Filthy down in 8th. He's hit the wall, but it's all kicking off. Benia was, what, 30 odd seconds off the lead only 3 laps ago, but look at him now. Up into 4th position.
That's right, and he's ahead of that battle pack, most crucially. That's, wow, what a turnaround.
Yeah, so Killer finds himself in 5th now between Benia and Daz. And Daz in 6th position. Ahead, as he goes wide down into the hairpin, but Carbon Boy down into 7th. So he had it in his, he had 4th place in his hands. He had a big gap, but he's just got stuck on that gravel trap at turn 5, which has claimed yet another victim. And Carbon Boy down in 7th. He's still within touching distance of the battle pack. Filthy 2 down in 8th. They're within touching distance, within striking distance, and it could be anyone's game here. Benia just edging out a bit of a gap. 1.2 seconds to Daz and Killer behind. 1.3 now.
Yeah, they're having a bit of
that
a
car.
Sorry, my apologies, you go.
Yeah, it's Daz and Killer fighting it out, but no move from Killer.
Yeah, they had a bit of a slipstream battle there. So Daz overtook Killer in the first segment of that back straight, and it looked like Killer was about to do the reverse on him on the approach to the braking zone, but it looks like they've Benny's off.
Oh, what is happening?
Oh, massive
the 4th place
to that car.
curse. The 4th place curse. Whoever's in 4th place, if you're Daz, I would want to get other. Oh, it's Killer's barely keeping it on track as well. Everybody's just losing it in 4th position. This is extraordinary. So strange. Daz finds himself 1.4 seconds ahead in 4th position. Killer under pressure from Carbon Boy. As Carbon Boy goes wide into the wall. Oh, it's gone. Oh my. Carbon Boy. Oh
gosh.
This is not...
Some battered and bruised cars out there tonight, isn't there?
I am absolutely lost for words.
I was just about to mention likewise that with the sun starting to settle, shadows are starting to lie on the asphalt, track's probably getting a little bit cooler, so the track conditions changing. As I was about to mention that, we both saw Carbon Boy go off. So yikes, it's really bitten them hard.
Yeah, these changing conditions. The lap times about 6 seconds off what you would normally expect. Around here at the moment. That could also be attributed... Oh my. This battle pack... Oh, and he's almost taken out. Filthy as he's gone past, but this race has everything. And Grassy's is gone as well! Grassy's... He's just locked it up under brakes coming to turn 3, and Carbon Boy overtakes him. This race is...
This will get the Big Kev all wound up. I'm excited.
And the battle up front is still close.
Yeah, that gap's sort of hanging around that 2.5 second mark. So Stranger's not giving up, and likewise, Dadson, to a greater extent, well, he hasn't. Yeah, he's just kept it under control. You know, looking at their lap times, so it swings and roundabouts. Stranger will lose a second in game 1, and vice versa. So it's. Yeah, wow. That's going to get pretty spicy for the next 2 laps.
So it's anyone's game. 4 minutes on the clock now. And Stranger, who's lost touch from Dadson just a little bit, that 2-second gap, but the lap times comparing in between them, Stranger should be able to match Dadson. He has matched Dadson on his 10th lap, going very close to the fastest lap of the race as they come down into the braking zone at the hairpin. And that gap begins to come down as this is the strong point in Stranger's lap. As they fly through this not purpose built, the public road section of this track, Stranger seems to be able to hook his car up in a way that Dadson cannot. And you see that time just tumbling down.
Oh no, he's gone.
Oh no. And he's in the wall.
Oh no.
Has he got damage? What damage has he got?
Yeah, he's got engine damage, and his front wheels and front end are basically all gone. So that's
so it's on for Gurr. A Dadson 1-2 is on the tables now.
Gillette man will be proud of that, that's for sure.
10-second gap between Stranger and Gurr. It's going to be close. I think we should ride on board with Gur and just see if he can catch Stranger. As he comes down to the final corner, that gap coming down 8 seconds now. But that damage from Stranger is going to clear itself in
yeah, that's
time.
just cleared now, so that should start stabilising that gap. But either way, that's a massive confidence hit. You'd be so annoyed with yourself, so it's just a matter of focusing and getting on with the job again, hoping that it doesn't snowball and become any worse than what it is.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
Daz is off. He's spun. So left-hand side of that car's taken a massive whack.
And was Daz in 4th? I believe he was. So the 4th place curse takes another victim.
Yeah, it certainly seems that way. So Filthy, careful now. You're 4th place.
Yeah, I think with a 3-second gap, he just needs to ease this car home. No silly mistakes. We don't want to see the 4th place curse end up taking another life. But it's almost like one of those races where it's like, try not to come 4th.
Yeah, pretty much. And
just
the issue seems to have compounded the issue. The issue for Daz seems to have compounded. He had a bit of damage on the front left corner. It looks like he might have understeered wide into turn 1, and it's now whacked the right side. So one would argue maybe it's sort of negated itself in a sense, but no, it's just gone from bad to worse.
Yeah, so not ideal. So many people losing it in this race, but Filthy finds himself in P4. I think after all the chaos, we should just run through the order.
Definitely.
One last time before the race finish. So leading the race, leading the way for Dadson Racing with a 9-second lead now is Dadson. Followed a couple of 100 meters down the road is Stranger with a 10-second gap to Gur in P3 for Dadson Racing as well. Filthy P4 finds himself in a position which, with the story of this race, I wouldn't want to be there myself, but he finds himself there. He's taken up the challenge of being in P4, so we'll see if he can hold on to it by the end of the race. And then Killer in P5. He's had a decent race. He's been up and down. He was in the podium positions earlier in the race, and incident after incident, but he's crawled his way back. Had a phenomenal race. And Daz in P6, same story as Killer. Honestly, like, he's had a good race, had good pace the entire way, just having a few unfortunate incidents. And in P7, Carbon Boy, I think it's the same thing over and over again, as I think we're on the final lap. Yes, we are.
That's
so,
right, we are.
Dadson is going to take this win, you would assume. But Grassy's P8, Benia X P9, VF P10. Wait, did Benia? Yeah, Benia lost it. I'm having a hard time keeping track of who's lost it and who hasn't. But Dadson, as he rounds the final corner, the second last corner, sorry, taking the win for Dadson Racing. An 8-second gap, a very commanding race for the man himself. As he rounds the final corner, this is a historic win for Dadson Racing. As Dadson doing a bit of weaving, got the whole pit crew up on the wall as he crosses the line. Spectacular race from him. He'll be very proud of that one. As Stranger comes down the final straight now in P2 for Doghouse. Their debut race, and he crosses the line to take second. And Gur completing the double podium for Dadson Racing today. Completes the top 3 with a solid drive. Made no mistake. Well, he made a mistake early
massive
on.
incident. Killer and Daz looks like they might have come together.
And Carbon's going to get another position.
Yeah, he's going to jump Daz.
Killer,
I'd assume there might be a bit of a redress there.
And Killer is... Daz gives the position to Killer. Wait, does he? Wait.
Yeah, it looked like
Are those
Daz
the two that were locked up?
That's right. So it looks like Daz might have just ceded position there.
So 4th for Filthy, commanding drive, and 5th for Carbon Boy. It's worked out for him there. And Grassy's in 6th, Killer 7th, and Daz 8th. Yes,
yeah, that's
they
right.
crossed the line alongside. And looking back, Benia coming onto the final straight now. It was a rather unfortunate drive for him. Just a lap ago found himself in P4, but Not his day, Benia, and he crosses the line in P9. And VF, he's picked up a half-second penalty somehow. There's only one place on the track I can think you can pick up a penalty for track limits, but he's managed to do it. As he crosses the line in P10, and S mid, mate, comes home to take P11. And he crosses the line.
Wow, what a race.
Well, that was interesting. Non-stop action. The entire duration.
That was, yeah, it's been a while since I've seen a race like that.
I am absolutely speechless. So, who do you think was your driver of the day, Dflo?
Oh gosh, I'm actually going to go with Datsun. I know it's a bit easy to say that because he finished in first, but no, it seemed really, really good, in my opinion, so I'm going to give him driver of the day.
Yeah, I think I'm going to give my driver of the day to Datsun as well. He had a very commanding drive, and you saw the absolute mayhem that was happening out there, and to have the mental like endurance and determination just to stay out on track without making any mistakes. You even saw Stranger there as well, making a mistake late on in the race while challenging for the lead. And but Datsun, he's kept himself out of trouble, had good pace the entire race, and I believe he had fastest lap at the end of that as well. So
that's right,
very commanding drive from Datsun. He didn't have pole, he was 4th on the grid, made his way up to 1st and held it there, and took fastest lap while he was at it. So very commanding drive from Datsun. So we have Shiza in the comments saying driver of the day Datsun, and Prua saying Datsun as well, and Debrev given driver of the day to Datsun as well. So anybody else, if you want to chuck in your 2 cents and just chuck it in. And Corrupt says Stranger, good stuff, gave it everything. So yeah, very interesting race tonight. And don't go anywhere, guys, because we've still got the Division 1 guys. Qualifying should be starting in just a few minutes. I think we might just take a short break before heading into the qualifying for the Division 1. Personally, I need a bit of a drink of water, but don't go anywhere, guys. Division 1 will be up next very, very shortly. So stay tuned, guys. So everybody, switching across to the Division 1 room now. Your race director for tonight. Well, big thanks to Dflo for being the race director and making sure that everything ran smoothly for Division 3 room. And now onto the Division 1 race. We have the fastest guys, Sector 1, duking it out on a track which offered heaps of drama in that last race. So is everything ready, Adam?
Everything is all good to go. We can get qualifying underway at any time, but I have to say, first of all, what a way to start the season with that race we just bore witness to. A podium lockout for Aston Martins, so a big sign of things to come for the rest of the season. Keep your eye out for that car, obviously, and an amazing start for Datsun and Datsun Racing as well. 2 cars on the podium. You know, you can't ask for a much better result than that, and I know Dadson's one of those guys that's very hard on himself, and he expects the best from himself. And I'm sure he'll come up with something saying, "Oh, I should have done this better, or I should have done this better." But I'm sure he'll be happy with a win tonight. And you know how good, what a way to start the season.
Yeah, for sure. What a way to start the season for Dadson Racing and Dadson himself. Great stuff from the team, and congratulations to Stranger, of course. He still managed to get the podium, started from pole. Great race from him, and getting Doghouse Racing into the headlines tonight. So hopefully the on-track action stays around for the next hour and a bit as we head to the Division 1 room for the qualifying has started.
Yep, so we've just given these guys the lights out for qualifying, so they're heading out on their outlaps now as we speak. We did have some classic Gran Turismo bugs during the pre-lobby testing period. We seem to have worked out most of those, so that we are all good to go.
That is great news.
So a lot of these guys driving some very different cars. There's only a few cars the same. A couple of Astons, I think they're the most popular car in the field, but for the most part, a good variation of cars in this one here. And we've got a late joiner as well, Lucky from Lucky's Lawn Care Racing, joining the lobby just as qualifying begins. So he'll be stoked to have made it.
Yeah, cutting it a bit fine.
Yeah, so he had, it is his birthday today, from what I've heard. So a big happy birthday to Lucky, team owner, of course, for Lucky's Lawn Care Racing. So he was surprised by a family dinner tonight. So of course, you have to put that first in these situations. And we all knew he was going to be touch and go to make qualifying tonight, but he's made it with 13 minutes to spare. So I'm sure he'll be happy to set at least one lap tonight.
Yeah, does he know it's qualifying a go?
I think he does. He's probably partied up with Nux there from the sister team.
Okay, that's probably true. As we see them all come across the bridge for the first time. So running through our grid today, we have in first position at the we're having technical difficulties at the moment. I think my game has frozen. Is yours running fine?
No, we're all good here. So we'll continue running, and I can provide some commentary while you reboot things if you like.
Oh, I think I have to restart my PlayStation actually.
No, that's all right. I'll carry the stream on my shoulders while you're gone. Don't worry about me. So. With the fantastic picture you guys are seeing at the moment, I'll give you an idea of what's going on. Currently the drivers are on their outlap. Did we get a whole lot of driver of the day nominations down there for race 1? No, I saw a lot of people say Dadson, but I think it's a bit of a cop-out to to vote for the winner of the event. So you got to pick someone else. Who was the most consistent? I'd say the Stranger is a notable nomination, given the pressure that he applied to Dadson for the entire race, which is fantastic. Obviously, couldn't quite make it work, but what a great thing to do. What a way to make the race exciting. Shiza says, do you know the Muffin Man? Now, the Muffin Man, a crowd favourite, of course, driving the Aston Martin tonight, as a lot of you will know. Now, I don't actually recognise the team livery. I think there's some new logos on this car. Oh, is that on the roof? Is that a CP Motorsports logo? I think it is. Well, that's a dead giveaway, isn't it? That's why the car's so shiny. They've bought the flash paint for it and put all the most expensive paint on it that they can, because they got that massive budget. Oh, well, just to update everyone in the chat who can't see what's going on track. Muffin's just started, so Muffin, the crowd favourite, has just started his first flying lap and driven straight into the wall at turn 1.
Oh dear.
That's not quite going to do it for him, I don't think.
Yeah, it was the commentator's curse without the commentators being there. Or one of them anyway. Well. I think Scheisse has cursed Captain Muffin at the moment, but it was just about to run through the starting group for tonight before my game rudely interrupted our proceedings. Do you think you could give us a run through of the grid for tonight, Adam?
Oh yeah, definitely. It turns out we do still have a little bit of a bug in the lobby, but it's one of those things we're just going to have to grin and bear with at the moment. One of the drivers can't see another driver on track. The car is invisible to them. It's interesting. The bug that we've seen tonight has been the car itself is invisible, but you can see their name tag just floating along the track.
I had an experience in the other lobby with that earlier, but I left and rejoined, and it seemed to sort of... Wait, who is the car that's invisible?
So me personally, I've actually got about 4 invisible cars on the track, but that doesn't really matter because I can see everything that I need to see.
You can see the name tags.
Yeah, exactly. I can see the name tags and I can see the telemetry, so, you know, what more do you need? But Hellraise can't see Muffin Man, unfortunately. But I think in the grand scheme of things, one car not being able to see another car is something at this point we're just going to have to deal with, I think. But the grid, so names you may recognise in the chat. TX3 GDR, a series winner 3 times, I think, looking to defend his title. So he's driving the Aston Martin today, and for the rest of the season as well. You know, it's every day because you pick one car and you stick with it. Corey Hack for Red Mist Racing, driving the Mercedes-Benz, the SLS AMG. Hellraise driving the Aston Martin, and Ando driving the Chevy Corvette. Now, a couple of Chevy Corvettes in this lobby here tonight. Andrew Lee, Distinct Andrew, driving the Dodge Viper. So a bit of a left of field choice there. I think that might be the only Viper in the field tonight. Captain Muffin, fan favourite, crowd favourite, CP Motorsports driver, driving in the Aston Martin. Morgan Davey, another popular driver at Sector 1, driving the Chevy Corvette, so another Chevy Corvette for us to see tonight. Luck goes my way also in the Dodge. So, Lucky, who was our late joiner, turns out to also be driving the Dodge, so we have 2 of those on the grid tonight. Kiwi Raikkonen driving for Dadson Racing, so they got another driver tonight, 3rd of their 4 drivers on the grid today. Also driving the Chevy Corvette. FSR Corgi, so these 2 guys are teammates in the FSR branch, but not teammates when it comes to Sector 1. Corgi driving for Blacklight Motorsport. Nux driving the Autobahn Aston Martin. Slightly reminiscent of the, I believe it was a Holden, the VIP. Do you remember the VIP, was it pet insurance livery on the old supercar? Way back in the day?
I might. I think I know what you're talking about, but
it's the black and yellow that does it. And Karen Unleashed, someone we all know very well, driving for Deeds, team owner of course, in the Chevy Corvette. So a few of those.
Yeah.
GDR sets the first time of the day with a 3:28.3.
That is very, very rapid from him. A 1.1 second gap to Distinct Andrew in second. He's your driver, isn't he?
He is, so he's one of mine. Our other Ascension Racing driver for tonight wasn't able to make it, unfortunately, due to university commitments. Just didn't quite line up for him, but he has confirmed he'll be available for the rest of the season. And I believe we're running drop rounds this season, so
yes.
One drop round means that anyone who's not here tonight can still race the rest of the season and get themselves a result. So a bad point score or an absence is kind of what that's for. So that solves that for him. But yeah, Distinct Andrew currently sitting in second, 1.1 seconds behind. I believe if what I've heard on the streets is true, what the kids are saying these days, 327s, possibly a high 326 are what we should see on a lower fuel load.
Yeah, only problem is that with this short qualifying layout, it's really hard to get your fuel tank down low enough to be in the region. But I mean, GTR 28.3, he's he's tickling with the 27s. That's for
He
sure.
is. He's right on the cusp, I think, and I'm sure he can do it. If anyone can, it'll be the 3-time champ, I'm sure.
Distinct Andrews lost it, hit the wall.
Big slide there. I was on board with that too. I can only hope that wasn't supposed to be a flying lap and was more supposed to be an in lap.
Yeah, hopefully we'll just
Timing might be a little bit close.
Level racing action replay, and yeah, he's just got it up on the grass there, and yeah, he's just lost it. A bit of grass and into the barrier. So unfortunate for him, but it just shows that the best of the best still do make mistakes, and just shows that corner I was talking with Dflo about earlier, the bumps and the curb and the off-camberness of the corner. It's a really tricky corner to navigate, even for the quickest of the quickest.
Yeah, it's a tough one. That bridge comes up really quick, you know. So it's one of those things you got to watch out for, and there's a little crest as you come over that little rise that can unsettle the car and get you loose, which will cause a lot of people to understeer straight into the fence and cause about $5,000 to $10,000 worth of damage, including engine damage, which will stop them from definitely completing a good lap at the very least.
Yeah, so TX3 GTR still 1.1 seconds ahead of Distinct Andrews. He does come into the pits. Ando in P3. He joined halfway through last season, if I remember correctly, and he put on a good show in Group B, and now he's in the main game, Division 1, Group A of the Sector 1 Supercars. Ando 787. He loves his aeroplanes.
He does. He's a pilot himself, as a lot of us know. I've spoken to Ando a bit, and he's a very, very quick driver. Seen him a fair bit in the Gran Turismo World Series events, or as they used to be called, the FIA series. But he's always been a very quick guy. Made his debut in the Community Series a long time ago here at Sector 1, so he's been around for a while, but a bit of a latecomer to the main series, but definitely in an effort to make his name here. So currently sitting in 6th place.
Yeah, a lot of the other guys like Corgi, Kiwi Raikkonen. Oh my goodness!
There we go. There's that 327.1 I was talking about.
Are you seeing what I am seeing? He has absolutely blown TX3 GTR out of the water. A 27.1, almost a 26.
Well, the interesting thing is these guys are out of sync now. So GTR's just put on a fresh set of tyres and is on his outlap, whereas Kiwi Raikkonen's on worn tyres. He's not going to be able to set a faster time now, so he's going to have to box for new ones. But he's less than 3 minutes away from the 15-minute mark, so he's going to have to make this lap or the next count for something.
Yeah,
and I think that's going to be a hard ask on worn-out tyres, but we'll have to see.
Yeah, for sure. Also, setting newer times is Corgi with a 3:28.5. That is still a blistering lap time. You guys all saw the Division 3 guys. They were setting 32s, 33s for their pole times, and now you see the Div 1 guys, and it just shows you how quick these guys are behind the wheel. Absolutely flying. But looking back as well, Ricky Bobby puts himself into P5 with a 29.7. He is personally my teammate in that red Gallagher Obsession Motorsport car, compared with the blue ones that we saw from Pruer and Carbon Boy in the last race. I think my favourite is the red one, honestly.
The Mercedes is a good car as well, good on its tyres from what I know, and a very, very good race car here, and I'm sure it'll be fantastic for you guys. So yeah, great run there from Ricky Bobby, and I think these times just show the depth in the Sector 1 roster that we have here. There's a whole lobby's worth of drivers, 14 drivers, between this set that we've got here and the set that we just watched, and it just shows the amount of quality we have on display here on the Sector 1 YouTube channel.
Yeah, so funny thing about the Mercedes is that it seems like this particular track is the Achilles heel of the Mercedes, as it lacks a little bit in straight line speed, so it'll be hard to make up positions on the straights compared to the blistering cars. Oh, as Ricky Bobby runs a little bit wide there. onto the grass. He won't be too happy with that. But as I was saying, yeah, so it just lacks a little bit straight line speed, but what it lacks in a straight line, it makes up for in the corners. So yeah, so
honestly, there's a good balance here with all the different car choices, isn't there?
Yeah, so you have the quick ones in a straight line, like the Chevrolet, which we see the likes of Ando, Kiwi Raikkonen, and Corgi are all running the Chevrolet, but it's really strict on its fuel. It doesn't like it. It just drinks it all up. And the Aston, it's more of a mixed car between the extremes of the Chevrolet and the Mercedes. But yeah, it's interesting to see which driver prefers or prioritizes different traits within their car. And yeah, we have a big mix of drivers. So
alright, our checkered flag is out. Captain Muffin just crossed the line in time to start another lap. So he will be the last one to cross the line unless someone in front of him crashes, of course.
Yeah,
so
we have
first driver to cross the line here for their final flying lap is going to be Lucky Goes My Way, or Lucky as he's commonly known. Coming to the line now. And not an improvement, unfortunately. Karen Unleashed will be next.
And he goes
into the pits. So he's written off his lap.
So his
next driver will be Morgan Davey, also in the Chevy, another one, a Deeds driver. Not a quick lap from him, 4 minutes 20 something there.
Yeah.
So what he would have wanted, I'm sure.
Has Hellraiser not gone out for this qualifying session?
I don't believe so.
So
might be starting from the back.
Yeah, haven't seen a lot of him so far, but
well, we'll keep an eye on them once the race does go to get underway. We will have the safety car out on track, which will help us. Next car to the line is going to be Distinct Andrew. He is on a good lap here, so we'll see if he can upset any of the podium sitters there.
Yeah, as he comes through the final sector now, into the final corner, and I think he should be. He's looking very quick.
He looks like he's on for something. 25, 6, 7, probably an 8 point something. There we go.
By a second.
Improves, but not enough.
But he'll be happy with that, a P4 for sure. So,
alright, so next driver, TX3 GDR, and Corey Hack still out on a lap.
There we go, TX3 leading, is it? It's hard to find the people in the list. Ando and Corey Hack are the three. So we'll jump on board with TX3 GTR as he comes through the tight and technical public roads section of this course. All the corners, as you know, public roads often off camber. So for the purpose of drainage, but he goes very wide, but he holds on to it as he comes into the fourth last corner, and he picks up a penalty. So TX3 will not be getting pole on this occasion. But behind is Ando. And it looks like he is on something good as well, by the looks of it.
I think he could be set to improve here. Currently a 29.8 to beat for him.
Yeah, as he rounds the final corner.
Could get himself into the top 5 here. Does he pick up a little bit of grass there?
It's going to be
way
tight.
Through.
7, 28, 29. Doesn't improve.
Not quite an improvement, but a good lap nonetheless. 330s.
Behind does not improve. But that's the end of qualifying.
He'll be P9. Alright, so get the safety car on track. And I will just send a final message out to the drivers.
So once again, like last race, it's a 50-minute race directly after the 15-minute qualifying. But it started under a safety car for a formation lap. So they're going to get about 44 minutes of green flag racing, which by the looks of that qualifying, with Kiwi Raikkonen on pole, followed by TX3 GTR and Corgi in P3. It's looking like it's going to be a very good race so far. So we just have to wait and see.
Righto, so the race is set to go. So, Kiwi Raikkonen from pole. What a lap it was too.
as the race is slowly getting underway, and it's green flags, but we have the safety car. So as the safety car makes his way to the front of the grid.
Here we go.
So these guys, they should be looking at 14 laps. I don't think they'll be able to get around to 15, but we'll have to wait and see. I'm willing to swallow my pride to be proven wrong here. I want to see 15 laps, and these guys, in spectacular fashion as they always do, should be able to provide that for us as they barrel down into turn 3. So running through the starting order, the complete starting order. So in P1 tonight we have Kiwi Raikkonen for Dadson, and I feel like it's just a Dadson night of racing. Absolute scenes from Dadson Racing tonight. You have the P1 and P3 in the Division 3 race, and now you've got Kiwi Raikkonen on pole here. So it seems like they've done something right for this round. And in P2 we have the man himself, TX3 GTR, the reigning champion from last season in the Porsche Super Cup. So he'll be, it seems like he hasn't lost any pace so far. He's still there, and he's gonna want
right
to
up there in
prove
P2,
himself.
certainly in a position where he can challenge.
Yeah, that blistering lap from Kiwi Raikkonen, that was unmatched. He had the second at 1.2 seconds on the rest of the grid. So Kiwi Raikkonen really knows how to drive that car around here. So
Certainly done his
TX3,
practice, I'm sure.
yeah, TX3 will have to get in front of Kiwi Raikkonen soon in the early parts of the races of the race. Otherwise, I feel like Kiwi Raikkonen's just going to sail off into the distance.
It'll be interesting to see how the tyre wear is different between the Chevy and the Aston, because there may be an advantage or disadvantage to be had there. Definitely be something worth paying attention to.
Yeah, for sure. As we look
And
back,
did we see 5 laps on the first stint for race 1?
it was okay. So with the formation, no, excluding the formation lap of green racing laps, we saw people pitting lap 5, lap 6, and lap 7 out of 13. I think it came to by the end of that race.
Wow.
So pretty large
Making
window.
the tyres
and
last for sure.
yeah, if these guys were watching the race last time, they'll be definitely thinking about the undercut coming in on the official, like, race timed lap 6. We saw it work out for Gurr, and he managed to pull off the podium from 10th. So these guys, if anybody was paying attention, they'll definitely be thinking about that, have that back in the back of their mind if they're trying to get past somebody or whatever. So down in P4 today, Distinct Andrew, he had a good qualifying and a bit of an incident, but he finds himself in P4. And Ricky Bobby, P5 for Obsession Motorsport. He'll be very pleased with that. I was talking to him earlier, and he couldn't seem to find a 29. He was on the 30s and stuff, but he's found it now. And this is when he needed it. Right when you need it most in a 15-minute qualifying. To find yourself in P5 is just incredible. So Ando in P6, Nux P8, no, Muxy P7, Hellraiser P9, Morgan Davey P10, Corey Hack P11, Captain Muffin P12, Lucky in P13, and Karen Unleashed in P14, rounding out the grid tonight. As the safety car is backing up the grid as we enter the final few corners now. So when we come up to the final, the last corner or so, the safety car is going to pull to the side, going to let the leader pass, and it's going to be up to the leader to control the pace from then on. So we round the final corner now, as we see them taking up a 2x2 formation. Kiwi Raikkonen, he can go whenever he gets past the first grid slot between then and the finish line, to give him the advantage of pole position, to have the surprise, the element of surprise as they round the final corner now. And we're about to go green flag racing, and he can go anytime now, and he goes. And we're off. As they head towards turn 1. It seems like Kiwi Raikkonen's got away well ahead of TX3 GTR, who's under fire from Corgi now. And they all settle in, and it's all kicking off. 3 wide, 4 wide in the background, as Ando makes a mistake, not a mistake, makes a move. No, Ricky Bobby gets past Morgan Davey. And they're all over the show. It's 2-3 wide as they head down into turn 3. Keep it clean, boys. Keep it clean. As they head into the 3rd turn. Kiwi Raikkonen.
It's a dream start for Kiwi Raikkonen out the front. A second clear now. Exactly what you want from pole position.
Yeah, so... Oh, there's contact between Morgan Davies wide. He just touched Ando there, but they've kept it through. But Ricky Bobby tumbling down the order, 3 positions down in just the first few corners. But Kiwi Raikkonen leads TX3 GTR now, ahead of Corgi, ahead of Distinct Andrew, and these front 4 have bridged a bit of a gap to Ando behind, who's been a little bit opportunistic here. He's made up a bunch of positions. He initially losing just a few coming to the 1st and 2nd corners, but he's managed to find himself in P5 now, ahead of this midfield pack that's just starting to form.
That's
now,
a good
very
start from the new
drivers.
boy, right up near the front. There is a bit of a gap in pace between the top 4 and the remainder of the field, but I'm sure Ando will be happy with where he sits right now.
Yeah, for sure. So we see Ando leading Morgan Davey, leading Nux, ahead of Ricky Bobby, Captain Muffin, Corey Hack, Lucky, and Hellraiser. And Karen on... Wait, have we lost somebody? No, never mind. It was you. I was like, hang on, I
The
spoke
safety
about
car is
14.
gone.
But this second pack is bumper to bumper from P5 all the way down to P13.
There's a move on here between Morgan Davey, Nux and Ando as well. Or Morgan
And
Davey was
Ricky
showing the
Bobby
nose there.
Almost goes down the inside of Captain Muffin. He gets it down the inside, and oh, Muffin going wide, but Ricky Bobby up into 8th. And he holds his position for now as they head onto the big back straight. This is where you're going to see all the moves taking place. There's going to be lots of side-by-side action as they tumble down into the hairpin. And as you can see up in the top corner, we do have a headwind coming down this straight, so these drivers will be able to wait until the very last second to step on the brakes and pull it up.
The question now is, will GDR go for a move here? Because he's not the sort of guy that will patiently wait behind a driver in front of them, as Max Verstappen would say, like a grandma. So he'll definitely be looking for any opportunity to get by. The last thing he wants to do is save tyres and fuel. He wants to drive fast.
Yeah, and with the pace we saw from Kiwi Raikkonen earlier, it's going to be a top priority for GTR to get past Kiwi Raikkonen into the lead and hold him up. Try and use his tyres if he wants to attack, or because otherwise I think Kiwi Raikkonen's just going to take off into the distance.
Yeah, they've got to keep him close at all times. He's distracting them as well. He's got the hazard lights on, pretending he's a safety car. Don't be fooled by that, boys. It's a cheap trick.
So Morgan Davey has got past Ando now, so you'll be happy with that. Up into P5, Morgan Davey is very quick. And,
Ando's gone, is he? Oh.
Ando almost lost it onto the grass there, but we'll just have a look on the Next Level Racing action replay at that one. And as he comes down into the final corner, he's just clipped that grass. Oh no, there might have been a little bit of contact. I think he's just lost the rear actually.
Oh, in your live action there, Karen has gone straight into the wall at turn 1. He's got engine damage, front and rear bumper, and 3 of his wheels are bent.
Wait, who was that? Karen?
Karen from last place has barreled straight into the wall at turn 1 and damaged his entire car.
That is not what you want.
That'll put him a good 30 seconds off the pack, and he's going to have a lot of ground to make up later on in the race.
Yeah, definitely. So, Kiwi Raikkonen now ahead of TX3. He's got about a 7/10 gap and then a 1.56 second gap to Corgi and Distinct Andrew. Very close together, those two. And Morgan Davey pulling a gap on Ando over a second now. And Ando under pressure from Nux as well. He seems to just be going backwards after that brilliant start that he had. And
I think Morgan Davey has the pace to run with the leaders up right now. So he'll be pushing to try catch them. 2.3 seconds the gap at the moment. He's going to have to work that back, but he might be able to do it. He is a race winner here at Sector 1 after all.
Yeah, he had a brilliant start off the line and he's just worked his way through the cars in front of him one by one, and he finds himself in P5, just a few seconds off the leading pack. So expect him to make up some ground for sure. As we see Nux really pressuring Ando at the moment as they cut over that bump and down the back straight. It looks like he has the slipstream now. I don't know. No, Ando is outside of the slipstream from Morgan. So
he is indeed. Yep. So 1 second's the cutoff there, and you can see the delta on your timing sheet. 1.2 seconds between Ando and Morgan along that straight. So definitely. Oh, Muffin wide back there, loses out to Ricky Bobby.
Yeah, Ricky Bobby into P8 now. I don't know what happened there. I think Muffin just outbraked himself and it left the door open for Ricky Bobby to go through. And Muffin didn't get a very good exit, but he
certainly looked like it. And now Muffin under pressure from Corey Hack as well. He gets a great exit out of the sweeper downhill. Corey Hack, interestingly, he was one of the guys we had issues with during the testing section of tonight's proceedings. A little bit of latency issues as we do get in the online world, and you can see it a little bit there now, a little bit of left and right lateral movement from his car. It was much worse, but it has been improved, so hopefully he can race side by side with some drivers.
Morgan Davies hit the wall and he's off.
Lost it. Oh,
I heard a crunch, and I've looked around and Morgan Davies down in P9. Oh.
Wow, he'll be absolutely gutted with that, because he was on a warpath.
Yeah, and it just proves to you that the mental strength that you need around this circuit, the determination from all the drivers to stay concentrated for the entire duration of the race. It just makes it extremely tough. But Morgan Davey suffers. It seems like he's just outbraked himself into the hairpin, I think, and finds himself in P10, unfortunately. But everyone that was behind him is now in front of him. So Ando back into P5, has about a second gap to Nux, who leads Ricky Bobby, who has opened up about a 2-second gap back to Ricky Bobby. So I think Ricky Bobby, he'll be absolutely stoked with where he is at the moment, but he's only going to have eyes forward.
Some crucial info from up the front. Kiwi Raikkonen has broken the slipstream to GDR behind. He's now 1.4 seconds clear, and GDR is very quickly falling into the clutches of Corgi behind.
Yeah, this is exactly what we were saying. Kiwi Raikkonen, he showed brilliant pace in qualifying, and TX3 needed to get in front of him. We thought that he might get away from TX3 GTR, and that just seems to be the case at the very moment. But Corgi, eyes forward as well, but he needs to be looking back as well, because Distinct Andrew has just set the fastest lap of the race with a 29.2. So can't...
29.2 in conserve mode, that's pretty crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, so Corgi, he wants to move forwards, as you always do, but he just needs to keep in the back of his mind the fact that Distinct Andrew wants to be pushing himself into the podium position as well. So
a little bit of trivia information for you as well in regards to Distinct Andrew. He is actually driving on a controller tonight, so no wheel and pedals for Distinct Andrew. So eat your heart out, controller users. There's no excuse. You can absolutely be up here with these guys. Just look at this man doing it for you. So let that be an inspiration to you. So Andrew, he would normally use a wheel and pedals if I know him, and I'm sure I do. But he's currently recovering from surgery, which means he's unable to use his rig for a long period of time. And 50 minutes of racing is a fairly long period of time. So he's confined to the controller for the time being, but he's certainly making it work.
Yeah, so a 29.2 on controller, that is absolutely rapid. That's like a 24 on wheel.
I'm sure he'd be doing... I don't even know if he'd be doing much better on the wheel, to be honest. I've seen his controller versus wheel pace in the GT World Series, and honestly, I don't think there's much difference. The guy can win against anyone on any equipment. It's absolutely amazing, but we'll see what he can do tonight. As look, Corgi goes for a move on GDR here into the hairpin at the end of the straight, late on the brakes.
Is he going to get him?
He absolutely
there's a bit of contact.
Holds GDR
but,
a little bit wide,
Distinct Andrew goes
Andrew's
through as
gonna
well.
Try to follow him through.
No, he's stuck on the outside and he has to pull out, but Corgi up into P2 now.
Corgi with the elbows out as well, absolutely sent up the inside. I don't know if you know, but Corgi and GDR are actually friends in real life as well. They do a bit of go-karting together on occasion, so that that might have had some emotions attached to it. I don't know.
He stuck it to his mate there, that's for sure. As we look back on the Next Level Racing action replay of that move, they dive.
On your live action, GDR going at him
he's
again,
wide,
and
he's wide!
driven off into the wall, all on his own. And he's got engine damage, bumper damage,
Corgi.
and left front wheel damage.
Oh,
So
that is not what you want.
He is not in good shape. He's going to lose out a lot of time to these guys, so he's going to have to do a lot to recover here. It looks like Ando might even get him as well. He's gaining on him very quickly, and his engine's not going to recover for a long time here.
Yeah, so Ando up into P4. Nux might even get him as well. Oh yeah, he's definitely got him. Definitely. As all. I heard lots of tyres screaming in the background.
I heard that as well. Nux sliding it through turn 1 there. Absolutely sending it through. Had to get past there. So Corgi now with 2 positions lost that he did not intend to lose, of course. So he's certainly got a lot of work to do here.
Yeah, and it looks like his engine's back in order as he's keeping pace with Nux at the moment. Could even go for a move into turn 3, but doesn't, just holds on for the moment. But Ricky Bobby, he's in contention here as well. Only 2 seconds off the back of Corgi. He's found himself in a bit of no man's land at the moment, in between Morgan Davey and Corgi. So Morgan Davey's made up 2 positions now. He got dropped down, back down. He got dropped down back to P10, but he's made his way back up to P8. So that just shows the pace that Morgan Davey has at the moment. And
yeah, Morgan's certainly got that front runner pace, I think.
Yeah, if it wasn't for that mistake at the hairpin, he could be in P3 at the moment. With Distinct Andrew, of course, but not to be today. But anything can happen. We saw in the last race all the mistakes that were made just because of how mentally challenging this racetrack and these categories of cars are. It's a long time to go without any brakes, and the corners, they don't really, apart from the back straight, they don't really give you a time to rest before you get into the next section, especially those tight and twisty sections. The amount of corners in those first major sectors and last major sectors, it's enough for a track in its own, but yeah, just so much mental strain that this track gives you.
You're absolutely right, and even the pit straight, which is one of the places you'd expect to be able to take a moment's respite, you can't even relax there because it's followed immediately by one of the most stressful corners on the track, turn 1, which is almost flat, which makes it exceptionally dangerous because you're carrying so much speed through, but you do have to reduce the power to regain control, and these guys are running the fine line between power and cornering there to get through. So it's the really stressful part of the track to be on. So that track that straight rather, is not long enough for these guys to relax on, unfortunately.
Yeah.
We've had an error up the front as well. Kiwi Raikkonen's gone very, very deep at the hairpin at the end of the main straight, and he's lost himself about a second's worth of time, which is going to give GDR a bit of a sniff, possibly in the near future.
Yeah, that gap is still 1 point. Oh, very wide from Kiwi Raikkonen. He's flirting with danger.
He's getting a bit ragged. I wonder if he hasn't quite done enough practice on the worn-out tyres.
Maybe.
Put all his time into raw pace qualifying, but not enough into longevity in the race, but see how he copes from here. So these guys, we can expect to probably do another lap or 2 before they box for new tyres.
Yeah, for sure. As he completes his 4th lap, his 4th green flag lap here. Crossing the line with a 1.8 second gap to PX3 GTR in second, leading Distinct Andrew by a second. Distinct Andrew, eyes forward. He has made up a lot of time. For the fastest lap, he's still doing 3:30s. They all are. Well, GTR just did a 29.9 on the last lap, so he is the fastest man on track at the present. But otherwise, Distinct Andrew catching up time. A second separates those 2 at the moment.
Hardly an inch between them, isn't there? It's hardly any time whatsoever, and for such a long lap to have that close of a gap as GDR goes deep into the hairpin at the end of the second straight there. That's going to lose him a bit of time. So Andrew now back within the slipstream range, down to 9/10. And GDR as well, crucially, has used a slight bit more fuel than both Andrew and Kiwi Raikkonen here. It looks like Andrew's the best of the three of them.
Yeah, I think for GTR, I think things haven't gone quite to plan for him at the moment, because he would be wanting to take that position off Kiwi Raikkonen, which he hasn't done. But it looks like Kiwi Raikkonen's
pulled half a second in the last two sectors.
Yeah, exactly.
Kiwi Raikkonen, I was on board with him as he exited the corner back there, and he got on the power too early and was forced to lift back off right as he touched the exit curb, which is just absolutely the time you do not want to be lifting off, because it kills your run. And GDR pulled time on him all the way to the next corner.
Yeah, I think, as I was saying with Dflo last race as well, the setups of the cars, you just see the differences. Like, it looks like GTR has a car that's more suited to the technical sections of the first purpose-built section of the track and the last public road section of the track. Whereas someone like Kiwi Raikkonen and Distinct Andrew, they have their car suited more for the straight line speed. As you just see that gap, it's sort of stagnated at the moment, but maybe Distinct Andrew got not the best of exit.
GDR into the wall on the exit off the bridge. He's got damage to his right front corner.
Oh,
that's going to affect his straight line speed down this straight, and that's the last place you want it. So I think we might see a move from Andrew here. 6/10 between them. Now, damage to your front splitter does slow you down on the main straight. It does kill your top speed, so it'll be interesting to see what happens here.
Yeah, and he wouldn't have got a great exit.
Andrew's got to go for it, but he does not know that damage is there. He has no idea. Will he send it? GDR might defend here.
And he goes for it, dives out late.
Down the inside, here we go.
He gets
I don't think there's much that GDR can do about it. He tries to hold it around the outside.
Squeezes himself through.
It's a massive effort there from GDR, but nothing that he could do, unfortunately. His damage is all gone now. That splitter has magically repaired itself, you know, just like in real life. And he's now able to attack again, but he's lost that position, and that's just what he didn't need.
Yeah, once again, this is what possibly one of the greatest drivers we've ever seen in Sector 1. And this track just causing small mistakes, and it's so punishing this circuit. You go off like a meter either side of the track, and you're straight into that wall. So I think we'll just have a look on the Next Level Racing action replay. And Distinct Andrew, just textbook move, sends it down the inside, and he's avoided contact and just got past TX3 GTR. So congrats to him. Up into P2. And the gap to Kiwi Raikkonen now edging out to just over 2 seconds as they head through the fast left-hander of turn 1 and the slow right-hander, 90-degree right-hander of turn 2 as they head down the first big straight.
Yep, 2 seconds, but it's coming down a little bit. It looks like Andrew might be pushing a little bit harder for fuel here. And honestly, a little bit flown under the radar here, but Corky's made his way back up a little bit. Ando now feeling the pressure back for P4 here. Half a second the gap now.
Yeah, so Corgi, after his little accident, he's still eyes forwards and he can still go for this podium. I mean, the gap is 6 seconds to TX3, and chasing down a 1 second gap to TX3 is hard enough, let alone a 6-second gap. But we've already seen one mistake from TX3 GTR. We could see another, or we could see a mistake from anybody, because this track is so mentally demanding. So anything can happen on a track like this, as we saw in the Division 3 race earlier tonight.
We've had 2 pit stops as well. Lucky and Karen have both stopped for the first time and have filled their tanks right up, put on some nice fresh tyres. Now, I was going to say, and on that subject of mistakes up the front, I'm going to go out on a limb here. Commentator's curse, jinx my own driver. The only driver not to make a mistake so far this race, from what we've seen, is Andrew. I don't think we've seen any errors from him so far. So there you go. Prove me wrong, Andrew.
I was so prepared to watch him run wide at the entrance to the bridge.
I've done it now. I've just ruined his race. But, you know, it had to be said. You know, this is a quit while you're ahead moment. He hasn't made any mistakes. That counts as the win, right?
And he is closing up that gap to Kiwi Raikkonen. Was 2 seconds at the start of this lap. Now just 1.5. And he is the only driver out of those front 3 who is still running 30s. Kiwi Raikkonen dipping into the 31s last lap. while Distinct Andrew is still 8/10 quicker. So, Distinct
Andrew's
Andrew on a roll.
Andrew's starting to chomp through his fuel as well. He was better than both GDR and Kiwi Raikkonen, and now they're all pretty much exactly the same, which is amazing to see. Like, the strategy between these guys, they're clearly all driving to a number, and they're all hitting it right now.
Yeah, and
So-
GTR does what Andrew did to him the lap before.
Oh, wow,
Basically
there
a
it is.
complete replica. And all of a sudden GTR back into second position. Textbook
Wow,
move.
so that's not what these guys want right now. I know it's very GDR strategy to fight for track position at all times, but they need to close that gap down to Kiwi Raikkonen. They have no advantage anywhere else over this guy. All they can do is work together. But that gap, you know, it's pulling out now. It's gone out to 1.9. It was just 1.8. So the only thing that could change something here is pit strategy. But the guys, all three of them, have such level cars on tyre wear and fuel management that I can't pick a winner out of these guys. Your bets would have
As
to
Kiwi
be on
dives in.
Kiwi Raikkonen. They're all
They're
going
all in.
And look at that, 19, 18, 19. They're all absolutely identical.
And Ando comes in, Corgi comes in. They're all coming in. Seems like this is the strategy.
Look at that. Imagine if Corgi hadn't had that accident. This would have been a four-way battle for the
And
win.
Hellraiser in. Nux in.
So
They're
that's
all
everyone.
coming. Oh, who stayed out? That was Corey. Hack
goes
stays out.
flying by.
So this
So
is
those guys are all going to
effectively
refuel,
the
so
undercut.
they'll be gone for a long time.
So what we saw last race was the undercut. These guys seem to be the normal strategy. So Lucky and Karen have already pit. So
Now
let's
this is
see
very interesting.
where Lucky
Andrew
comes
has
out.
come out ahead of Kiwi Raikkonen.
Has he underfueled or?
He has underfueled, so Andrew went to about 80%, Kiwi Raikkonen went all the way to 100. GDR has gone to about 95, and he's now got damage on his right front wheel as well. I don't know how he's done that, but he's hit something. Corgi 8 seconds down from these guys as well, but Andrew, with what could potentially turn out to be a masterful strategy, very Mercedes-esque, shooting for track position. Kiwi Raikkonen goes deep at that corner as well. That's not going to help his chances.
Yeah, so
But this just
Corgi
got a
has
whole lot
found
more
his way.
interesting.
Yeah, Corgi has found his way past Ando as well. I think he got it done in the pit stop. So, good. Oh, Ando's got a 3-second penalty. He's crossed the pit lines. Oh, no, Ando. Oh, that 3
no, it's been
seconds.
such a good race.
Oh,
It's a
that
painful penalty to get, but
that ruins your race.
the
Because even
rules
though it's
there, we
3
all know the
seconds,
rules.
even though it's 3 seconds, it's more like about 5.5 to 6
It's a
seconds.
big long straight as well.
Yeah, it's a 1.8
Oh,
kilometer
no.
straight, and the burn zone is right at the start, so you have no exit out of the sweeper that I think is turn 17. So he's going to be hurting by the time he gets to that hairpin. That is for sure.
Now, I'll tell you what I'm picking here, because I know how much practice Andrew has done, and I know his strategy is a little bit up in the air at the moment. But we're past 25 minutes, which is technically past halfway through the race. So, in theory, the guys should have been able to put in the amount of fuel they'd used up until this point, and that would get them to the end, which is what Andrew's done. Now, what I'm concerned about for his sake is they did the first lap under safety car conditions, which uses considerably less fuel and considerably less tyre. So has Andrew taken that into consideration with his pit stop? I don't think that he has.
Yeah, so either way, that gap down to Kiwi Raikkonen has just dropped to about a second, but TX3 GTR, he's only 2/10 off the back of Kiwi Raikkonen. He seems to
right
have got
there.
his tyres up to speed very quickly, and now he's threatening 4-second position.
He's not going to be able to go for it here because Kiwi Raikkonen is being assisted by the tow from Andrew as well, and they've all closed right up here. Look at the gaps between them now. It's so close. GDR to the outside
Yeah,
now.
he tries it from the outside. I mean, Kiwi
he get it?
Raikkonen,
He's
he
still
went
there.
defensively. He went
He's
defensively.
still there. He's going to
Oh,
get
he's
it. This
holding
is
it. What a
GDR's
move!
going through.
What is
Round the
this? Oh my
outside
gosh!
at the
What a
hairpin.
move from
Fantastic.
GTR! What a
Unbelievable.
move! That
That's
is
not something you see every day. He felt that out earlier against Andrew as well when Andrew went up the inside, and he knew he could do it, didn't he?
That is a move that only a 3-time Sector 1 champion could do. Next level racing action replay, holds it around the outside, and then through the next 2 left-handers, he's just held that inside line, and what a move. That is absolutely astonishing, and he finds himself in P2. So the question now, Corey Hack, how far does he drop down the order? So does he come out ahead of Corgi? I don't think so. I think he's only going to lose time.
He's on the refuel at the moment, so he's had his tyres. Shouldn't be long until he's out of the on track again.
Ricky Bobby's going to be ahead of him. So's Nux. As he comes out, yep, okay. Does he come out? Yes, he
going to have him in his way. Here we go. Ando goes flying past,
and
as
so
does Hellraiser. Wow.
So Corey Hack losing heaps of time, heaps of ground. So any Group B watchers tonight, just think about that. The lap 6, lap 7 seems to be the way to go. It worked for Gurr, and well, it did work for Killer initially, but he had a few incidents that kept him back, and it's worked for everybody else who didn't pit. I mean, who did pit on lap 7, and Ando pit lap 8, and it's dropped him a long way down the order. So
right. Also, I have some very interesting telemetry for you here. So looking at all the cars on track, I've gone through the field, and there's 2 schools of thought on track right now. There's about 75% of the grid who have put about 75% fuel in the car after their pit stop, so hovering around 70 to 75% fuel right now. And then there's 4 drivers that have got about 90% right now. So we're talking a 15 to 20% difference in fuel. Now, I think one of those schools of thought is going to be correct, and one of them is going to be off and either short-fueled or over-fueled.
well,
So the drivers with more fuel at the moment are GDR, Kiwi Raikkonen, Corgi, Nux, and Ando. So I believe that's 5 drivers. The rest are all 10 to 20% short on what these guys have.
yeah, so something else as well. Off camera, GTR has actually taken the lead of the race over Andrew. Andrew is just
he's
falling
not
back.
sticking around either. He's pulling away from him.
No, I think GTR just putting that extra splash of fuel in the car, it's allowed him to push that car harder than Andrew. But Andrew and the Viper, I think that's it's the Viper. I was like, hang on, I need to take a double take for a second.
I think Andrew's starting to realise that he's a bit short on fuel here, because he knows that he came out ahead of Kiwi Raikkonen when he was behind him. Speaking of Corgi's only 8 seconds behind these guys. He could actually do something from here, particularly if Andrew runs out of fuel.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this race, and this track, these cars, so mentally demanding. I know I've said it about 1,000 times, starting to sound like a broken record, but we've already seen one of the greatest drivers in Sector 1 history make a fatal mistake, which lost him a few positions. So everybody else involved here, it's going to get really, the fatigue is really going to start to set in these final 15 minutes of this race. So yeah, we'll just have to wait and see who can hold on and who has to basically who falls.
Only the strong will survive. Oh, bit of damage there for Kiwi Raikkonen. Hits the wall on the exit of turn 1, goes deep for turn 2 as well. So he's damaged his right front wheel there, so he's probably going to lose a bit of time here. Potentially pull his teammate back into the mix.
Something else as well, TX3 GTR, fastest lap of the race, a 28.999. How's that for race pace? That's like only 6/10 off his qualifying time. So the GTR, he wants this race.
Take a bow. He's pulled Andrew right through as well. Obviously, he got his overtake. Andrew with a 29.6 on that lap, and previously a 29.2 fastest lap. So GDR goes over 0.2 faster than the previous fastest lap.
Yeah, and Kiwi Raikkonen matching Andrew's last lap time for hitting the wall, but he's dropped down to about a 2-second gap now. A 1.7-second gap to distinct Andrew.
Now, what gets me here, and this is very interesting, is that both of the FSR drivers, that's Kiwi Raikkonen and Corgi, P3 and 4, they have exactly the same amount of fuel on board. So if that doesn't scream identical strategy to you, I don't know what will. But I think these guys have done their research, done the R&D, and figured out what works here. And I think, even though they're not currently right up the front, they're third and fourth, I think we might see them challenge for the win right at the end here.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, how is Kiwi Raikkonen matching up with his fuel against Distinct Andrew and GTR? I know Distinct Andrew is slightly less, but what about GTR?
So Andrew's on exactly 50% right now, and Kiwi Raikkonen's about 65, possibly 70. So there's 15 to 20% there. It's somewhere in that margin, and GDR is exactly halfway between the pair of them. So he's sitting about 58%, 60%. So GDR might just run out of fuel. Andrew might run out of fuel with half a lap to go, and Kiwi Raikkonen might make it precisely to the end. Based on what I'm looking at.
He's got the run. No, he doesn't actually.
Big lift and coast into the braking zone there from Andrew. I think he's starting to realise he's got to save a lot of fuel here. He's slowly creeping closer to GDR's fuel numbers here, so he is doing a decent bit of saving, and he did manage to save a lot in that first stint compared to the others, and still he started pushing towards the end. So he might not be out of it yet, but I think he's going to have to work very hard if he wants this.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, we saw it coming into that braking zone. He was lifting about 500 meters before the braking zone, so just conserving his fuel. Going to use this, trying to stick within the slipstream.
Big mistake there from GDR.
Oh, he's under pressure from Andrew.
He is. He's cracking under the pressure here. He's trying to push. He is trying to push. Let's see how far he revs out the car. He's revving it to about 85-90% of the rev bar. You guys who play a bit of GT will be familiar with the graphic I'm talking about. So not quite revving it right out, which is interesting to see. So he is still in a bit of a conserve mode.
Just riding on board with GTR now. You can see the
look at that rear view mirror. Oh,
yeah.
That's menacing. Dodgers are angry looking cars, aren't they?
And I feel like Andrew, he could have taken the lead out of the exit into turn 1, but I think Andrew's thinking of the long game. He wants to save and just stay within the slipstream range, and then pounce at the very end when he's saved his car. Because there's still 4, maybe 5, no, well, we might get 15 laps out with these quick guys, but definitely 14 laps. So he's going to have another 3 laps once they cross the line. And I think Andrew just wants to sit into the slipstream, just save his car, save his fuel, save his tyres.
I think Andrew and GDR both have their eyes on their fuel gauges, because if you look at Kiwi Raikkonen now, he is well and truly back in the fight with these guys. 6 tenths behind them. That's a train if I've ever seen one, and he was over a second behind at the start of this lap, so he's pulled it all back in that first sector.
Yeah, just listen to Kiwi Raikkonen's car. He's short shifting very early. It's not getting into the rev range at all, I don't think. Can you confirm that? He's just straight through the gears, but he's...
I'll have a look what he does on the bridge here, but he's definitely been pushing in the first sector, so he's revving it out to about 90% as well, so he is giving it a bit. Oh no, 60% for that gear, so he's changing it up a little bit as he goes through.
And when I first mentioned it, he was shifting even earlier than that, so obviously just trying to save the fuel through the corners and then maximise his straight line speed to stay within the slipstream on the straights. So, oh, he's grinding the wall the entire way down.
It might have been lag that we witnessed that there, so I saw that too, but I might be able to put that down to lag there. But what's interesting is, the the interesting thing about fuel saving is you can afford to obviously save more in a tight, twisty sector because you can afford to lift off more and reduce the power. Here we go, though. Kiwi for a move
goes
on
down the
Andrew.
inside.
He's not messing about with this one. Andrew lets him have it. Goes for the switchback.
Switchback.
Can't quite get it done, but I think
racing.
Kiwi's going to cruise right up to the back of GDR here. I don't think it's going to be long at all. And Andrew's not in a bad spot here still because he's very good at following these guys around. So I think Kiwi Raikkonen's going to struggle to drop him here. There's been a bit of a mistake from Corgi somewhere as well because he's now 11.6 seconds back.
I think these guys are just really quick. So
Corgi with a 3:33 on the previous lap, and the guys up front were mid-30s.
Yeah, so maybe a small mistake just running wide at one of the corners, but
I think Kiwi might challenge for the fastest lap here. Let's see what he gets across the line.
It's going to be tight anyway.
Not quite, but it is going to be a very low 30. It's 29.866 for that lap, so a very, very quick lap. Andrew into the pits.
Oh, he's gone for
Andrew
a two-stop.
has pitted out. I think he's realised he's not going to make it. Yeah, he's not changing his tyres, he's just putting fuel in.
Oh, no.
Wow, the misclick on the strategy.
But now, the stories between TX3 GTR and Kiwi Raikkonen. Kiwi Raikkonen, he has his car in brilliant condition. He is just closing up right up the back.
GDR's got damage too on the front bumper. I don't know what he's done, but he's hit somewhere.
So
might not affect him too much through this
back in
sector.
front.
It's all gone. It's all gone now. It must have been from turn one, but yeah, Kiwi Raikkonen's definitely going to be able to challenge for the win here.
So just looking through the order now, we have GTR in first, Raikkonen in second, Corgi in third, Nux in fourth, had Ricky Bobby in P5. He'll be absolutely stoked down in P10 after the first lap. Ricky Bobby making up 5 positions. Stink Andrew down in 6th, under fire from Ando at the moment. Looking back to Corey Hack in P8, Hellraiser P9, Morgan Davey P10, Lucky in 11th, Captain Muffin in 12th. And what's happened to Captain Muffin here? I thought he was right up with everybody else. It looks like by his lap counters, like his lap times, on
He's
lap
had a big
5,
misclick on lap 7 there.
Yeah, on lap 5, I think lap 7 was when he pit, but lap 5, he's 10 seconds out, and lap 11, he's 10 seconds out. So, maybe 2 separate incidents for the Muffin Man.
He's lost a fair bit there. Unfortunate for him, because he was a hot favourite coming into this, and a lot of people backing him to be up the front this series, but this track really throwing a curveball at these drivers. It takes a lot of time and effort to learn this track, and if you don't have time or you're lazy, I'm not pointing any fingers at any drivers, but you know, it happens. It's a very hard track to get your head around, so you know, I can't blame a couple of drivers for having an off day here, and that's what drop rounds are for, so I'm sure Muffin will bounce back.
Yeah, Muffin, he's a proven quick driver in Sector 1, so it's unfortunate to see him so far down the order, but things happen, that's racing, and knowing Muffin, he's a chappy bloke, and he'll bounce back for the next race even quicker than he was this week.
Battle for the lead rages on. Kiwi Raikkonen sitting behind GDR here as they come through the S's.
Yeah,
I think they're going to have
Kiwi
2 laps to go here.
Yeah, they should. There's 7 minutes, so they're going to be right on the cusp. Oh, no, actually, they've still got 30 seconds to come around, so there's definitely going to be 14 laps. But, yeah, Kiwi Raikkonen probably knows that GTR's underfueled a little bit and is just going to sit behind and waste away GTR's fuel and tyres, cutting through the fresh air for Kiwi Raikkonen just to conserve his car and then get a pounce eventually, as we see GTR, his lap was a second slower than the lap before, and Kiwi Raikkonen, oh, he thinks about it, he's dummied for the move, but he doesn't actually go for it. He actually is 4/10 quicker on that lap than GTR as they head down into turn 2 on the power early, and GTR! Did he clip the wall there? Does he have damage?
No damage to report. He's okay.
Oh, But
He's
Kiwi
lost
Raikkonen's
the
going to have
run.
to jump. Oh,
Kiwi
no.
Raikkonen's going to dive to the
What is-
inside.
oh,
Here we go.
lots
Into
of
the hairpin
movement.
at the end of the second straight.
Goes for the
What
lead.
can he do?
And he squeezes
Too
GTR.
deep.
Oh,
Too deep.
oh, he's
GTR
hit him.
goes off the
Oh,
back.
it's
He's punched him
drama.
into the wall.
Drama.
Oh no!
Oh.
There's damage there for Kiwi Raikkonen as well. I don't know how the stewards are going to view that one, but it'll definitely be investigated.
There was a
The
bit of
upshot is
contact there.
2.5 seconds. GDR leads the way once
Oh.
again.
So we're going to
Hey,
look
you wanna
back on the
jump
next
on
level
board
racing
now?
action replay. And
Oh,
as they've come
wow.
down, it looks like, so Raikkonen, he's got the move done, and then he's gone deep, but then as he's come back on track, GTR, he's just made contact with the rear of his vehicle and it sent him into the wall, and that's unfortunate.
So I'm not sure what the rules state on that, but it's a failed switchback of sorts. So he was going to try and get the run on the exit of the corner, but he ended up driving into the back of Kiwi Raikkonen. But the upshot is GDR leads the way, Kiwi Raikkonen second, and Corgi third. Andrew is now within striking range of Ricky, Bobby, and Nux. So he's caught them up. I think we might see a move from him before long.
Yeah, so GTR with a 3-second gap now. What are the conditions on the cars in terms of tyres and fuel?
So it's all pretty square across the field. So GDR sitting just under 25% fuel and about half worn on the left front tyre. Kiwi Raikkonen slightly better in all departments. So a few litres more fuel and a slight bit less wear on the tyres. Corgi, very much the same as his teammate, or FSR teammate rather, Kiwi Raikkonen in front. Nux, much the same as well in the Aston Martin of fourth. Ricky Bobby a bit short on fuel compared to these guys, just under 25% like GDR. Distinct Andrew has more fuel than everyone because he has refueled, of course, so he's made that extra stop, decided to put a bit extra in and push to the end. So he'll be running full map all the way to the end, I think.
Yeah, so looking up front once again, we have TX3 GTR. That gap between Kiwi Raikkonen and himself, it's closed up about a second since last time we saw, and I think I looked at it when we were coming onto the bridge. So Kiwi Raikkonen probably, it seems like he has fire in his eyes now. He wants this win, especially after a slightly controversial incident.
Well, the bottom line is now he has to pull out as big a gap as he possibly can to negate any penalty that he might receive for that incident if he is found to be at fault. If I know GDR, I know that his thought mentality is, I don't think I messed up in that incident. I don't think I've done anything wrong. But the best thing to do is to keep driving and let the stewards sort it out later. There's no point waiting around to play Mr. Nice Guy here.
So 2 minutes remain. This should be the last lap.
So Distinct Andrew has made short work of Ricky Bobby at the hairpin at the end of the straight. We did see that on our other TV screen. So he's now going in pursuit of Nux. He's got a lap to find a second and get by him.
It is a pretty large gap to Corgi as well. So
yeah, I think Andrew's going to get one more at best.
Yeah, so
and I'm sure
position.
Nux is not going to let him have it easy.
No, that is very true. Nux, he's been flying in pre-season, so he'll want to keep his P4.
He loves a bit of tuning, does Nux? From what I've heard, I think he's a big fan of the sliders in the tuning page.
Yeah, for sure. I've seen a few of Nux's tunes, and seems to know a thing or two. He's got a good head on him. As they come through turn 5 now. For the last time.
GDR holding a 2-second lead at the moment, I think. I'm not sure what the Sector 1 rulebook says for infringements when it comes to fairly minor contact. I'd call it a push to pass at worst, if we're gonna look at it that way. But it may just be deemed a racing incident. But worst case scenario, it might be deemed a push to pass. What sort of penalty would we expect to see for that? 3-5 seconds?
I'm not too sure. I don't know how the stewards are doing it this season, but I don't know whether they're still employing the penalty point system that we saw last season, or whether they're just going to go for a more traditional time penalty.
Yeah, if it's points, different story. But if it is a time penalty that they would apply at the end of the race, like the FIA generally do, then GDR's only hope is to pull enough of a gap that a penalty doesn't make a difference. But or hope that it is deemed a racing incident, which it may be. But currently, less than 2 seconds. It looks like Kiwi Raikkonen has the advantage here. So I don't think he's going to be able to pull any more of a gap. He's just going to have to try hold position here and keep him behind.
Yeah, so the checkered flag is out now, so this will be the final lap. And that gap
between
is
Nux and Andrew is looking spicy as well. He will be able to challenge down towards the hairpin.
Can Andrew peel back that 4th position?
Here we go. To the outside he goes.
Nux defensive. Could we see a move?
He's well and truly ahead here. Nux is going to go pretty deep
outside
on the brakes around the outside.
Oh, we've seen another brilliant move.
Look at that. He's held it and he's going to have the inside here. There we go.
Just
like
from
Distinct
GTR
Andrew
did to him, Distinct Andrew does it to Nux. But as we look up to GTR, he won last time out in France, and he wins here at Sainte Croix. GTR, France belongs to GTR as he comes across the line in P1. Slightly controversially, but we'll have to see what the stewards have to say. And Kiwi Raikkonen in 2nd. But Corgi now rounds the final corner and completes the SFR podium with 3rd position.
2 wins for Aston Martins tonight.
Yeah, it seems to be the strong track for the Aston Martins. Distinct Andrew 4th, Nux in 5th, Ricky Bobby in 6th, Ando in 7th, Corey Hack in 8th, and Hellraiser rounding the final corner.
Andrew will be kicking himself for not being part of that fight up the top.
Yeah, for sure.
It's one of those races where
10% of fuel.
Corgi as well. Corgi fell back a long way after his crash, and that was one of those things. But a great drive from TX3. Interesting fun fact about TX3 GDR. The team he drives for, TX3, you say that France belongs to GDR. TX3 is a French team, so he is on home soil here. So the more you know. Get your driver of the day nominations in the chat, guys. Let us know what you think. A fantastic race up and down, full of drama, which is exactly what we like to see from a broadcast perspective. How do you guys like the new race start procedure? Do you love the safety car? Do you hate the safety car? What do you think? Let us know. I think it looks fantastic, very professional. What do you think, Lenocis?
Yeah, I mean, there is a small glitch on Gran Turismo 7, which, there's a small glitch on Gran Turismo 7 where you need to, you can't watch the start of the official race. So having the safety car in there just gives us a bit of time to get things sorted and sort out, the viewing preferences and stuff. So you need to take off the name tags.
You can't go to the spectator cam, can you?
Yeah, exactly. And you get stuck, and it just removes that hassle for me on the streaming side. But otherwise, it looks very fancy. Starting the grid rolling.
I think Kiwi did a great job of leading the guys away at the start. The guys will work out any kinks they have in that grid start, or not grid start, rather that double file rolling start. That they'll have to get used to over the course of the season. I did see a little bit of contact in the grid from guys at the back who thought that they were going, and others who ahead of them weren't going. A little bit of contact here and there, but I'm sure the guys will figure out the best way to take it on later on in the season. But I'm excited to see more. Whoever decided Sainte Croix Layout C was a good track for us to race on, I salute you, good sir. A fantastic decision. And I'm hoping for a whole lot more exciting racing next week.
Yeah, I heard a lot of complaints from the drivers in and around the paddock, saying, who the hell chose this track for the round one? But I mean, just having a longer track like that, which requires such like mental focus and demand for the entire duration of the race, it seemed to just catch out a few drivers and give them a bit of a kick up the bum to figure out what they need to change for the next time we come to this track. But yeah, it didn't give us a lot of action in terms of what you would expect out of a normal race, but what it lacked in overtakes, it made up for with some absolutely incredible incidents and drama.
Plot twists all the way up and down.
Yeah,
and,
exactly.
Yeah, whoever selected this track definitely has an eye for art. So a fantastic decision, and hopefully we see more of the same over the rest of the season. Because if this is how we're going to start it off, I feel like the only way we can go is down in quality, because this is about as good as it gets, guys. Drama left, right, and centre right at the end. That Div 3 race, I think the podium positions changed 2 or 3 times in the last lap. It was absolutely mental, and the 4th place curse as well. Was there a 4th place curse in this race here? I didn't quite pick that up.
No, Corgi held on to 4th place for most of the race, and he did a good job in that 4th position. Except
it came home with a podium.
Yeah, well, he crashed early on, and that put him into 4th position. So I guess in a way you could say that was the curse taking its victim, cursing him to the 4th position. But yeah, getting the podium eventually after a short fuel by Andrew. And I mean, once again, I guess you could make the same case that Andrew has made a mistake and it's caused him to be put into P4. So
I cursed him. I jinxed him when I said it. Oh, he hasn't made a mistake, and then he made a strategy mistake. So, driver of the day nominations, we got 4 nominations for Kiwi and a nomination for Nux. What do you think, Lenocis? Who's your driver of the day for that one?
Oh, I think honestly, I have no idea who to give it to. There was such quality up and down the grid. I mean, GTR, of course, winning the race. He managed his tyres and stuff beautifully, but also Kiwi Raikkonen. He did everything right, and unfortunately he couldn't come out on top as well. But then you've got Distinct Andrew, who almost did everything right, but just an unlucky error. So I'm not too sure.
I'm going to give my driver of the day to someone who flew under the radar a little bit, and that's Ando on his debut in Div 1 Sector 1. And he really took the fight to the guys up the front. He was tussling with the Corgi for a little while, and just a really good effort all round from Ando. So yeah. really impressed by that, to be honest.
He had a bit of an issue. I think it was in the race, or was it in qualifying? I'm not too I can't remember very well, but yeah, he had a brilliant race, and what a debut for him, for sure. But I think I'll give mine to Kiwi, honestly. He deserves it. He had a good race, and unfortunately couldn't come out on top. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see what the stewards have to say about that. So
he did do a great job, and he got the strategy to perfection, so you can't really argue with that. Although I suppose you could say that GDR got the strategy right as well, but I think without that incident, without that contact, I think Kiwi would have won it. So
yeah, for sure. But yeah, so have you got anything else to add, or?
No, definitely solidify my vote for Andrew for driver of the day, though. I think he was P7 in the end of that one, so top half, can't argue with that in Div 1. Not far behind Ricky, Bobby, and Knuckles. Knuckles, who nearly managed to keep Andrew Lee out actually towards the end as well, so he's a good shout as well.
Yes. So as per tradition, Womble votes Womble as driver of the day. So
it's a copy and paste at this point, I think. Driver of the day, Womble.
So I think Womble gave himself driver of the day for the Div 3 race and the Div 1 race. So
yep, thoroughly deserved. Well done, Womble. Extra point for you.
And who actually got fastest lap in the end there? It was GTR, wasn't it, with a 28.999, or am I forgetting?
I believe so. I believe that's correct.
Yeah, so brilliant pace from everyone today, and yeah, our
What a fantastic night of racing.
Yeah, our expectations absolutely just through the roof racing action the entire duration, both of the races, and what a night of racing. And thanks for everybody for coming along and watching tonight's race. I think we had almost 40 people there at one point watching that, so it's good to see great numbers coming out and watching these Sector 1 nights. And I hope you guys were entertained with some great on-track action. So yeah, if you haven't already, in the description of this video, there's a link to our Discord server where you can join and get in on the action if you haven't already. And also make sure to like and subscribe this video if you want more Sector 1 action. But next week, we do have the Group B, the Division 2 and Division 4 events, and I have a feeling that it's going to be very similar to what we saw this week.
Yep, high expectations now. Div 1 and 3, you set the bar very high, and you know, the rest of the guys that are racing this season are gonna have to work to match the level of entertainment on display tonight.
Yeah, that's for sure. So yeah, I think that's everything from me. Any last remarks, Adam?
I think we're all good to go. It's been a pleasure, and we will see you all again next weekend.
Yeah, thank you very much, Adam, for stepping in for Good Doc tonight. Good Doc was supposed to be race director for Division 1, but unfortunately had to take care of his fatherly duties, which is completely understandable. But Adam stepped up and did a great job as well. I don't think Dflo's here anymore, but congratulations. And thanks a lot to Dflo for doing the Div 3 race. So yeah, I think that's everything. Thanks for coming, everybody, and I hope you all have a wonderful Sunday night after this. So thanks, guys. See ya.
Peace out.